And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for joining me live on the show. Couldn't be here without y'all. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere. And I thank y'all for being here because you could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. What are we going to get into? Ukraine is still going on, of course. That's still happening. We got to talk quite a bit about that. And some of the, I guess you would say, the more recent updates about the whole situation. Also, the New York City vax mandate. Why are they all of a sudden now trying to repeal that? Like, what's going on? We will discuss, of course. And then you have the whole thing with... what we got? Oh, the crack pipe scandal is back. They're trying to debunk it to no avail. Of course, it's not really going to work. You can't just put a genie back in the bottle. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, Trump warned Europe, specifically Germany, countries that have a lot of dependence on Russian oil, fuel or whatever. He warned them about their dependence on Russia and not contributing to NATO properly. Did they listen? If they did, I can't tell. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, Joe Rogan destroys Bill Gates because he's like the de facto health czar, speaking about Bill Gates. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again. I appreciate you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. So if you enjoy what you have heard thus far, if you enjoy the content in general, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to the sponsors, of course, as always, as I do in the very beginning. Shout out to me, my sponsors. Okay, my particular website, AnthonyBLogan.com. If you don't know about it, you got to go ahead and go there right now. For every video that I produce, I also write an article. So I always have all my sources in the description box so nobody can never say, hey, man, you didn't cite your sources. You didn't say the right thing. You're fake news. I never post fake news, ever, 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 ever. And we're going to get into that crack pipe story because that really, it kind of burned my biscuits. It really grinded my gears a little bit because I'm seeing guys talking about, oh, that's fake. But I don't want to get triggered too early. My whole point behind talking about the website was to promote it right quick, so I'm going to stay on task. AnthonyBLogan.com, ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. Links will always be in the description box below. Also, go to my merch website, ABLmerch.com. That is ABLmerch.com. Check it out right now in the links below. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, mugs, and more right on the website. More new merch coming. I'm still on the lookout for some graphic designers and e-commerce managers. So if you have not emailed me yet about that, you can email me about helping me out there at contact@anthonyblogan.com. Yes, there is pay. You'll be paid pretty well. In my humble opinion, it depends on what you like. You know, I was seeing this thread or whatever on Twitter talking about if you make $65,000 a year, that's like peanuts. That's nothing. That's like, what? A family of four, the median income for a family of four in the United States is $55,000, right around that. For an individual, for a regular, normally just by himself chilling, eating oodles and noodles or whatever you got going on, chicken tendies, for an individual in the United States, the median income is $33,000 for one person. $33,000. That's the median income. That's not the average income because that gets weird. When you want to talk about averages, you putting in guys like Elon Musk and Bill Gates. I'm talking about if you put all the incomes in the United States on a list from the top to the bottom and you looked right in the center, that's the median income, $33,000. So it is what it is. Now, if you live in New York City and you want to live in a roach closet for $5,000 a month, and you might not be able to make it on that. But if you're living in a regular American city somewhere or out on the outskirts, you can do okay with that kind of money. All right. But I digress. ABLmerch.com. Check it on out right now. Links will always be in the description box. Also, If you want one of these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me, please visit bhedesigns.com. Again, bhedesigns.com, BHEDESIGNS.com. Links will be in the description box. You could get ones just like those, same size, same design, same everything. You could just say, hey man, can I get ABL's flags? Or you could do whatever you want. Get it custom made, pick from the website, do what you want. It could be a good birthday gift, Father's Day gift, a treat for yourself, whatever you want. Again, bhedesigns.com. Check them out in the description box. Also, of course, patriotpost.us, the best source of news and information anywhere on the internet. Y'all got to check them out. If you're not bookmarked, if you don't visit daily, I don't know what you're doing. Patriotpost.us, check them out right now. So those are all my sponsors. Thank you guys for being here as well. You guys are a sponsor, whether you are super chatting or not. It doesn't even matter. If you're here watching the show, if you tell somebody about it, if you share it, you comment, you like it, whatever you're doing, you are a sponsor. So thank you. Now, what are we going to get into first? Let's get into wow, there's so much here. I think I'm gonna start with New York City vax mandate. I'm gonna get straight to that because I'll talk about Ukraine a little bit and the Biden pipe thing, but I want to kind of gloat a little bit on the Biden pipe thing. No, I don't want to gloat. Pardon me, that's the wrong word. What I want to do about the Biden pipe thing is defend myself, and I'll get to that in a minute. So y'all just hang tight, okay? Now let's talk about the New York City vax mandate, right? Now, New York City wants to, well, how can I say? They will be ending their vaccine mandate pretty soon here. And the reason is because, well, it's multifaceted, in my opinion. You know, they didn't give an actual reason, but here's my opinion about what the reason is. First of all, everyone else is doing it. Okay, even California talking about they want to do away with their vax mandate. So if California is doing something like that, you know it's going to be a wrap for the rest of the country. Okay, no other place is going to have a vax mandate. If California, I mean, like that's the worst place in America as far as laws and rules and regulations. They have the most rules and regulations for regular law-abiding people, but you could be a crack smoking, dope fiend, illegal alien, whatever you want to do. You could steal stuff, smoke crack, shoot heroin, whatever you want. Camp outside, doo-doo on the ground. It's all good. But if you do not wear your powder puff girl's mask inside of a hair salon, then you got to go to the gulag making big rocks and little rocks. That's kind of how it is right now in California. But I'll move on. The point is that if California is starting to move on from all these ridiculous mandates, then New York City should also be doing it. So that could be part of it. New York City is like, okay, we can't let California beat us to the punch, so that could be part of it. But the biggest reason for eliminating any kind of vax mandate is because of money being lost. That's the biggest issue. In California, the issue is, I think, two concerts, Coachella and Stagecoach. I think Stagecoach is a country music festival, and Coachella is just like pretty much everything. It could be rap, rock, country, whatever. So these big music festivals draw tourists from all over the country, all over the world, millions of dollars spent. I mean, think about how much industry an event like that would make. Let's say you have a moderate number, 10,000 guests. It's more than that, but think about 10,000 people who don't live in your town coming to your town once a year, or 100,000. Let's say 100,000 people. That is the size of a whole city right there. A whole city coming to your town one time a year. They're going to impact a lot of different things. They're going to impact the hotel industry, the rental car industry, the food service. I mean, any ancillary business that's in that town will be positively affected. They're going to be affected. I remember I got a quick story for you guys, and then I get back on track as far as the vax mandates and things of that nature. But back in the day, when I was still doing my graphic design thing, I did a job for this organization called Noble. That's a national organization of Black law enforcement. And I got a job from the city of Norfolk police department. And what it was, I was designing like signs and flyers and banners, billboards. I did all the graphic design work, and I was doing a lot of their print work. So, for example, they pull up to the West End or whatever hotel they were at downtown Norfolk. They pull up to the hotel, and if there was an event going on, I'd make a sign, like a yard sign or something, or some kind of sign that you could see right when you get to the front that'll tell you where to go. It'd be a big arrow going that way. Now, for that particular job, I got like $13,000, something like that. So that's just what I got. Me. Now think about how much money the hotel got, how much money the local businesses got. I was reading, it said like from the receipts just from that weekend from Noble coming in, I think it was like 1,000 police officers from all over the country, between 1,000 and 2,000 police that came into the town for like a week of training and seminars and whatnot. For that 1 week, 2,000 people max, I think it was like $3.4 million in extra receipts from the city, 3.4 million from like sales tax receipts. We ain't talking about like everything else that may not necessarily be on the sales tax receipt. You know, restaurants, the waitresses getting tips and whatnot. Like, it's a big money impact from a small event like that. So Stagecoach, Coachella, these big events, it's big money. All right. That's why they're moving on from these things. All right. All this woke stuff goes out the window when you're looking at your balance sheet and you coming up short. It's like, hey man, we missing this money. We got to get right back to life. All right. This Omarion ain't nothing but a little sniffle for a day or two. So the masks don't work. They said the masks don't work. The Omarion is nothing. Let's get back to normal life. The hospitals were never really flooded up like the way they said. They told us that we had overrun hospitals and people were just, in the parking lot bleeding to death. That was always false. And people are starting to just accept it and move on. It's no longer a political thing. They can't make it be a left versus right thing, because when they do try to make it like that, you'll see those that make it like that, those that want to talk about, oh, wear your mask, it's the right thing to do, don't be a ridiculous tinfoil hat Trump supporter. Those same people will be outside with no mask on, having a time of their life. London Breed, we've seen her partying like it's the end of the world. Partying hard. I'm talking about going super hard. Talking about some, oh, well, my mask was off because I was eating. Well, when I saw you on the dance floor doing the two-step, the cha-cha slide, the merengue, the macarena, I saw you doing all that. It wasn't no hamburger or no tennies right next to your mouth. You had just yourself out there vibing, dancing to the music. That's what was going on, Miss London Breed and San Fran. Same thing with Eric Garcia talking about, oh, well, I wasn't picturing my mask off because, I was holding my breath when I took my mask off. It's like, all right, I've seen you in other photos not wearing your mask. So at a certain point, you can't just keep lying to people. We see what's going on. So drop all the vaccine mandates and mask mandates. But New York City is last to really just kind of catch on to the whole wave. Now, the reason why they're catching on to the wave now is, again, because of money. And specifically, the basketball team, the Brooklyn Nets, formerly New Jersey Nets. So the Brooklyn Nets play at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And the rule was dumb from the beginning, right? The dumbest rule in the world. Here's the rule, or as it stood or still stands right now, but it won't stand like that for too much longer. Now, if you're a Brooklyn Nets basketball player and that's your home team, you play for that particular team, you're not allowed to enter the arena if you're unvaccinated. That's the rule as it stands right now. So Kyrie Irving, unvaccinated, he cannot go into Barclays Center and play basketball for the Nets as of right now, according to the rule. So what they did to begin the season, they benched him totally because they were like, look, we're not going to have you just be doing road games only, no home games. We're putting you in the bench totally. And after a few games, they were like, well, come on back to the active roster and play the road games rather than not playing the road games or home games. So you just change it. Anyway, the science didn't change, but the pocketbook did. Losing 10 games in a row. All right, come on back for the road games. Now, the rule, going back to that, as far as the Barclays Center, the home team players cannot enter the arena and play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets. But the away team guys who are unvaccinated can play. So, for example, shout out to Jonathan Isaac from the Orlando Magic. You guys remember him. He refused to kneel during the national anthem back in the 2020 Black Lives Matter NBA bubble in Orlando, Florida. He's unvaccinated as well. He plays for the Magic, and of course in Florida, there's no vaccine mandate, so he's good to go in Florida and pretty much anywhere else. But when he flies to Brooklyn to play against the Nets, he can play because he's not a home player. So let me get this straight. If you are an away player playing against the Nets, you can go into the center while not being vaccinated, and it's totally fine. It's the same arena. It's the same crowd. You're not playing basketball remotely. You can't be on Skype playing basketball. You got to be right there next to the guys. So you can play while unvaccinated, but Kyrie Irving can't. So the rule itself is stupid, right? But beyond that, playoff time's coming. Now, you guys may or may not know, I'm a big basketball fan, huge basketball fan. And the best time of the year is always playoff time. That's it. That's when I actually watch. I'm a big basketball fan. I don't really watch basketball until playoff time. That's when the best games are. It's the most action, most entertainment. That's when I watch basketball is playoff time. So you're going to have a bunch of ads, a bunch of dollars and whatnot thrown at the NBA during this time. It's the biggest time for revenue, playoff time. So Kyrie Irving needs to be out there playing basketball during the playoffs. So when they say, okay, we're going to relax the mandate in the next few weeks, I'm like, okay, I wonder when they're going to rescind the vax mandate for New York City. Is it going to be during the playoffs or before? I guarantee you, I'm going to bet all the tea in China, all the heroin in Afghanistan. I'm going to bet you every dollar I have that they're going to activate them before the playoffs. There's money to be made. Eric Adams knows the guys that run the Brooklyn Nets. He knows these guys. He's friends with, I think, at least one of the guys, personal friends. So the friend's going to be like, look, Eric, look, we got Kyrie on the bench. Talking about one of the best players in the NBA. We just traded James Harden. We need Kyrie out there to go do this this championship run. If we can get him activated, we got a good chance of being able to win the entire NBA championship. So what's up? Let's make it happen. Do it like a little before the playoffs, so you get a little bit of momentum and he gets in this groove and we get to meshing together. I guarantee you it's going to happen. Money's involved. In the playoffs, you play 7-game series or the best 4 out of 7. So it could be 7 games. So let's say each round of the playoffs goes 7 games. You play 3 or 4 of those games at home. Big money for each game. Tickets, merch, ads, all that. Local businesses that get money. Like, people travel. When I went to Phoenix recently, the Suns were playing the Golden State Warriors. So you got Steph Curry and all kind of really big, really good players. When I was in Phoenix, I wasn't there for that. I was there for Brandon Tatum's book release party. But I just happened to go when they had the Phoenix Suns in town. I was looking at hotels that'll normally be like $300 are now like $1,000, $2,000 because people fly from all over the country to go to these games. You see what I'm saying? Just like when LeBron was in Cleveland, the whole economy of Cleveland was impacted. If you saw Cleveland as its own country and had a GDP, the GDP rose because of LeBron James, because of one player. So the money is what's motivating right here. The science is not even important. The science is junk from the beginning. The science has never been the whole thing. Though the issue has been just trying to control people. It's not been, biology. It's not been immunoscience. It's been psychological science. I was reading today where they say they're going to, the CDC is going to pull back some of the vax mandates and whatnot, the mask mandates. And I was reading on the Shade Room, as I always do. The Shade Room's like this black page on Instagram. And I'm reading the comments and they say, well, I'm keeping my mask on. I ain't taking my mask off. Why would you keep the mask on when people who say put the mask on are saying take it off now? If they told you put it on because it's going to stop the bug, now they say it won't take it off. Why keep it on? It's because you had to have that mask. It's a safety blanket. It makes you feel good. It doesn't work, but you don't want to part from it because it makes you feel good. If you don't have the mask on, you're going to feel like you're vulnerable and you're liable to go ahead and catch it. It's just like, you ever seen that meme with the horse that's tethered to a plastic chair and won't move? The horse thinks that it can't move because normally when they're tethered, they can't move. But so their mind doesn't really recognize the fact that they can move because all they see is the tether. People have been brainwashed into believing that the mask actually works when it doesn't. It's sad. It's really crazy, but I'm glad that you guys are not like that. I'm glad you guys are woke in the true sense, not in the ridiculous leftist sense, but in the real sense. You guys know that the masks don't work and they don't do anything, okay? And if you don't want to catch this bug and have any kind of complications, you know what you can do. If you're, not a senior citizen, and you're not 1,000 pounds, you're pretty much good to go. If you weigh as much as a SeaWorld dolphin, you got to tighten up. It is what it is. You should not be the same size as an aquatic ship. Okay, that shouldn't be going on. Not at all. You should be a regular human. I'm not saying be perfect and be beautiful like somebody on television that got all kind of plastic surgery and makeup. I'm not saying do that, but for goodness sakes, don't be 1,000 pounds. That's not that's too much for a human to have. And if you're that big, you're going to be susceptible to the bug. That's how the whole thing works. I think pretty much all agree there. I don't think anybody would say, well, actually, ABL, who's going to say that? Nobody. But I'll move on. I will move right along. Yeah, the Baby Grand Piano. If you weigh as much as Baby Grand Piano, if you were on stage at a Alicia Keys concert getting played, that's just too much for a human being to weigh. It's just too much. You got to tighten up. Okay, and again, you don't got to be looking like some kind of Instagram model or perfect or, you know what I mean? You don't got to do that because I'm not one of these TV stars right in front of you, but I'm not 1,000,000 pounds either. I'm mobile. At the end of the day, how about that? That's what you need to do. That's what everyone should do. Okay. I think that's a healthy form of fat shaming to make sure that you live and you can be healthy. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Just be healthy. This whole healthy at any size thing is nonsense. Okay. It's just complete garbage, but I digress. The whole point is that the mandates are coming to an end in New York City. And I think before the midterms, especially, they'll all be gone. Then they're going to say, hey, man, no hard feelings, right? No hard feelings for the past 2 years of lockdowns and mandates and whatnot. If you got fired from your job, no hard feelings, right? Can't get my job back. Nah, I mean, hey, and it's above me now. I can't help you right there. Your job is still gone. You're not going to get your money back that you lost from not having your job. When you got put on unpaid leave, you won't get that money back either. Take me to court, you might lose, and you got some money on a lawyer, but it's okay, right? Vote for me during the midterms. The midterms are going to be a bloodbath, a total bloodbath in the midterms because they have done everything they can to just mess the country up, to turn voters away from them. It's going to be a bloodbath come midterm time. That's why the Democrats are retiring and not running and whatnot. Now, okay, let's please talk about the Biden crack pipe thing. Oh, I gotta talk about that because I got an update. Okay, this is no rehash of the video I've already done. This is going to be brand new information that I've not talked about before. Now, again, let's go back to the Shade Room on the Instagram. The Shade Room, if you guys don't know, is a really big platform for a lot of. It's like a black center Instagram page, and they got quite a few followers. They got so many followers that they have their own little news outlet. They've scored interviews with Joe Biden himself. And there's another interview here that they have with Cedric Richmond, who is the CDC, well, not CDC, the CBC director. That's a Congressional Black Caucus. Now, is he still there? He might be the director, but I know at one point he was a CBC director. Okay, so now he's Biden's senior advisor. Cedric Richmond. So remember the story I covered about Biden and the crack pipes? To recap that before we get to them trying to do damage control and PR, which is going to fail. Here's what happened. So the Biden administration okayed a $30 to $60 million grant for harm reduction. And the harm reduction money was going to be granted out to like nonprofits and whatnot to purchase harm reduction kits. Now, a harm reduction kit includes things to use your drugs that are clean. Crack pipes, meth pipes, syringes, alcohol swabs, lip chap, even a little peppermint can. I'm going to show you the whole thing in a minute, but it includes drug paraphernalia. Why? Well, the idea behind the harm reduction is they want you to use clean drug paraphernalia so you don't catch HIV and die. And here's an example of the lip chap. So if it's cold outside and you're a crackhead, right? You may have broken skin on your lips because it's cold and you have dry lips, dry skin. You put the lip chap on so you don't have the cracked and bleeding stuff, the sores, because if you're smoking your drugs, that might infect the spots on your lip where it's open because they're chapped, causing an infection. You see what I'm saying? So they're trying to get you to smoke crack and meth and heroin safely. Now, the idea is, oh, man, you're going to get sick if you don't have clean needles. Well, what's the bigger threat? You tell me. Catching HIV and dying or overdosing and dying? You tell me. Okay, what was the leading cause of death for all adults, not white or black, all adults aged 18 to 45 last year? Heroin, most of that synthetic, fentanyl. You've had 100,000 deaths in 1 year from opiates, a record. But we're worried about people catching HIV or hepatitis or something like that from a dirty needle or a dirty pipe. Really? Is that the problem? I mean, you can hit fentanyl once and die right there. So if you catch HIV in that moment, it don't even matter. You still dead after an overdose. But I'm getting triggered yet again, so I digress. But that's the whole point, right, of the harm reduction kits is to prevent disease spread while using your drugs. Now, if you OD and die, hey man, that's tough luck, ain't it? But I move on. But here's the thing. They're saying now, oh, that's not true, man. That's not true that we're going to give out crack pipes. That's not true. That's fake news. That's a right-wing talking point. That's these black conservatives that hate themselves, all this, that, and the third. They're trying to make a talking point. They're trying to make it be a controversy. So I think just like he came out and said that there won't be any crack pipes, there's been all kind of stuff said from the administration. But what's the reality? What's the real thing? Let's get to what Richmond says, and then we're going to get to the reality of what's happening on the ground. Okay. And when he's talking, listen to what he's saying and how he says it. She'll ask a question and he'll answer it in a very specific way. So let's go ahead and just get some sound going here and we'll get rocking. Hold on one second and make sure everything is copacetic. Okay, there we go.
There was a bit of confusion reporting about the drug kits that would be sent out by the Biden administration, right? So some people did believe that there were crack pipes in it. So can you lay out some of the actual items in these drug kits?
Thank you for the question. And I'll give you a long story short, but it's all a part of a harm reduction model. And those people who unfortunately suffer from addiction most likely won't beat that addiction until they're ready, until they have treatment and all of those things. And so the thought process is that you reduce the harm that they do to themselves or the transmission of diseases by sending out things that are clean or sterile. So
let's pause right there. Isn't that what I just said? Isn't that what I just said verbatim? So let's continue.
In terms of the smoke kits, you're talking about alcohol swabs so that you're not transmitting diseases. You're talking about Vaseline or lip balm or things of that nature. to just reduce the harm. I can tell you one thing that's crystal clear. We're not sending out crack pipes. We're not providing funding for anyone to send out crack pipes. So
hear his words very clear. Okay, hear his words very clear, because this guy's probably a lawyer. They talk like that, you know. Shout out to all the lawyers. Shout out to my man, lead attorney. Love your channel, boss. But these lawyers, a lot of them are very slimy like that. They use words in a very deceptive way. They lie to you without lying, if you understand what I'm saying.
So because of the bad interpretation that some people had, we issued clarifying language to make it clear that you cannot use our money for those types of things.
Okay, so Mr. Richmond, there was a bit of confusion.
So let's review right now. Now, the girl from the shade room is asking, hey, well, what's in these kits? Now, did he say all that's in the kits? All he said was lip chap and alcohol swabs. But is that all? Is there no more in the kit? Is that it? I mean, alcohol swab for what? What you need that for? I mean, if you're going to provide clean things for drug addicts to use, why wouldn't you have a clean needle in there? If you're going to have alcohol swab, why not pair it with a clean needle or a pipe? Because the alcohol swab, what's it going to do by itself? You going to take a bath with that? Is that an aftershave thing? What you going to do with the alcohol swab? And a lip chap for what? What's that going to do? Okay, I got that right here. What you going to do with a lip chap as far as drugs are concerned? He's not telling you the full story. And then what he said was, well, we're not giving out crack pipes. We're not buying crack pipes. See, that's deceptive. You can't go to the White House, obviously, and get a crack pipe from Joe Biden. You know, you can't go to the White House steps and ring the doorbell and get a crack pipe handed to you. That's not going to happen, obviously. They're not going to buy any crack pipes. They're not going to provide any crack pipes. What they did was approve money for a grant program for harm reduction. So all they're doing is just approving money that you can apply and get as a nonprofit, and they're going to hand out the harm reduction kits, the smoke kits. What's going to be in the smoke kit? Lip chap? What's that got to do with smoking? Alcohol swab? What's that got to do with smoke? Can you smoke alcohol swabs? Can you smoke lip chaps? No, you can't. So now let's see what's actually in these kits. Let's see what the nonprofit that'll get money from that particular grant, let's see what they're going to do with the actual money. That's pretty important. Let's go ahead and get this rocking and rolling.
So every Tuesday and Friday in Hollywood, they have a Catholic church that gives this stuff out. This is where we living at, y'all, and this is what the government's doing. Joe Biden said he spent $60 million on paraphernalia for drugs, and this is what it looks like. It says being alive. This is.
So just pause right here. Here is the reality of what's going on. See, the better question for Mr. Richmond would have been, okay, can we see one of these kits that they be provided with the money that you're talking about? Can we talk to one of the outreach programs that give out these kits and see what the streets are actually getting? This is what you're going to get. This is a harm reduction kit, verbatim. When the story first broke, I read up on it. This is a harm reduction kit, and he's going to tell you what's in it. Matter of fact, there's two of them. He'll show you what's in them.
This is a meth pipe. Yep. Right here with this bubble thing. I guess you put the meth in there. Mm-hmm. This is a crack pipe. Yep. Okay. These are all instructions on how to overdose treatment and education. This is the needle in here. I'm not going to open this. I'm scared.
That's for heroin.
Yes, for heroin. It has the alcohol
That's
pads
a real
and stuff.
needle.
So you see. Hold on. Sorry about that.
So every Tuesday and Friday in Hollywood, they have a Catholic church that gives.
Yes, Catholic Church. You heard that right.
This stuff out. This is where we living at, y'all, and this is what the government's doing. Joe Biden said he spent $60 million on paraphernalia for drugs, and this is what it looks like. It says being alive. This is a meth pipe. Yep. Right here with this bubble thing. I guess you put the meth in there. Mm-hmm. This is a crack pipe. Yep. Okay. These are.
See the candy right there? That's very nice. Peppermint right there. So, just because. A little treat for like it's a trick or treat, right? Little candy in the crack pipes and meth pipes and whatnot. Very nice touch.
all instructions on how to overdose treatment and education. This is the needle in here. I'm not going to open this. I'm scared.
So let's pause again right here. So remember when he said, "Oh, alcohol swabs"? Well, yeah, I see alcohol swabs right there, and the lip chaps right there. Okay, it's not a traditional thing like how I have. It's not like this. Okay, but it's like in the like an alcohol swab type packet. So you have lip chap and alcohol swabs, but it's also a needle. You forgot about that part, didn't you, Richmond? You forgot about that part, huh?
That's for heroin?
Yes, for heroin. It has the alcohol pass.
That's a real needle?
It's a needle in there.
Oh my God.
And these things are like a black and mild filter that you put on the crack pipe so you don't think no one's saliva, so you don't get sick, and you can do your drugs. And so this is
so they like if you're gonna do drugs, we're gonna give it to you so that you can do it the proper way without getting sick.
Because we're not stopping it. We're not going to stop it.
Exactly.
This is letting you know that it's going to be here. This is what they.
Now, okay, so that is a harm reduction kit. So there were a few things missing from what my man said from Biden's senior advisor. He didn't say everything, did he? He said lip chap and alcohol swabs. Well, did he say the crack pipe and the meth pipe and the heroin needle? Did he say that? No, he didn't. But you see, it's right there in the kit. Now, every kit is going to be a little bit different, but that's the idea behind it. I mean, really, it's not even a new thing, though. They've been doing this in other parts of the country, just not from the federales, as far as I know. Okay, they've been doing that on the left coast, obviously. They've been handing out needles and crack pipes, things of that nature, because they don't want you to bang your needles and catch HIV. They want you to smoke crack or smoke your meth without shooting it to prevent disease. But if you die of an overdose, then, oh, well, it is what it is. And it's weird seeing people defend it because they talk about, you know, how Reagan put crack in the communities in the 80s, right? They'll say that. Then they'll say, oh, the crack laws got my cousin locked up. So the same guy that wrote the crack laws in 1994 is now giving out money for free crack pipes. Seems kind of counterproductive to me. It seems like you pretty much throwing your hands up saying, hey, man, whatever, you know, I locked you up, but my bad, here go a free crack pipe to make up for it. I mean, the dumbest thing in the world. But going back to Reagan, a lot of the community, a lot of people on the left of all colors, black, white, they say that Reagan flooded the community with crack. Let's just say you believe that. Now, what is Biden doing here? You're leaving the border wide open. Matter of fact, there's another story I'm gonna show you guys. You're leaving the border wide open. Hold on. And you're leaving the border wide open to let all kind of drugs come in. Here's a story. Report: Biden to divert agents from U.S. southern border, send them to assist with Russia-Ukraine conflict. You cannot make this stuff up. I'm on Breitbart.com right now. Okay, this is a real story right here. Okay, you're diverting border agents to go to Ukraine to protect their border. But what about our border? The border was already pretty much open, even with the agents there. So you're going to take agents from the border and send them to Ukraine to protect them, to protect their border? Type sense that make. So you're leaving the border wide open. You got fentanyl, cocaine, regular heroin, black tar, meth, whatever, all the drugs straight from China coming across, flooding the community, flooding the whole America, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Everybody gets affected by the drugs, and you're giving out drug paraphernalia for free to use. And since there's so many drugs coming into the country, what's going to happen? You're going to have a very cheap price, very low price, because it's flooded. It's not rare. So it's easy to get your drugs. It's easy to be addicted. It's easy to stay hooked on them. And that's what's happening. But I'm being told that, you know, Reagan, he needs to be blamed right now, 40 years later, because of the crack epidemic. Oh, okay. What about what's going on right now? The opiate crisis. Are we going to talk about what's happening with the border and the free paraphernalia? And not even, if you're on the street smoking crack, it's not even a crime, really. It's just like whatever. All right. Okay. That's lit. Again, 100,000 opiate deaths just last year, 1 year, 2021. Biggest, the highest total ever. the number one cause of death for all adults aged 18 to 49, not black or white, all adults. But I move on. So yeah, if you see anybody talk about, oh, that story about the crack pipes has been debunked, no, it hasn't. They're using very wormy language to kind of skirt around it. It's a PR campaign. It's a PR campaign, and that's the long and short of it. They've been trained to say this. Well, there's no crack pipes. Say that. We're not giving out the crack pipes. We're giving out harm reduction kits to help everybody stay safe and get help, blah, blah, blah. The same old sign. You say you want them to get help, right? But you're leaving the door wide open for the drugs to come here in the first place. So you're sending a mixed message. You want them to get help, but at the same time, you're hurting them by leaving the door for the drugs open. But I'll move along. If you like what you're hearing so far, give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, shout out to my man Trump for being right yet again, for being right as always. You guys may have seen my video I posted earlier about Trump warning NATO and really just Europe about Russia. It's like, look, how are you going to be dependent upon Russia for your energy while at the same time you are supposed to be protected from them by NATO? Now, he said that at a NATO meeting back in 2018. So 4 years ago, he said this. And what he said still rings true. It's like, look, you're not making a smart decision here. It doesn't make any sense. They're trying to sanction Putin right now. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's go ahead and pull this up, and then I'm going to get to the video of Trump from 2018. Here's a more recent one, and they're talking about the SWIFT system. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know, but the SWIFT system, that's like a banking transaction system, and if they bar Russia from SWIFT, then they're not able to make bank transactions. They're not able to really conduct their country's business, meaning like buy and sell goods, no imports or exports. That's what I'm hearing about. And if I'm wrong, y'all please let me know in the comments. Please correct me. But here's the video. Let's get a little bit of sound and get everything rocking.
We commit to ensuring that a certain number of Russian banks are removed from SWIFT. This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally. SWIFT is the world's dominant global interbank payment system. Cutting banks off will stop them from conducting most of their financial transactions worldwide and effectively block Russian exports and imports. Second, we will stop Putin from using his war chest. We will paralyze the assets of Russia's central bank. This will freeze its transactions, and it made it impossible for the central bank to liquidate assets.
Okay, so that's pretty much long and short. They want to sanction Russia by trying to block SWIFT. But here's the problem with that. If they're not able to buy and sell oil or gas, whatever, which is their chief product, that's what's going to hurt Europe. Shout out to my man from Netherlands that calls in. He's talking about how he spends almost the equivalent to $10 per gallon of gas over in Netherlands. $10 a gallon now, before the whole SWIFT thing happened. So if they block SWIFT and that 35% of Europe that depends on Russian oil and gas, well, natural gas, what are they going to do to make up for it? You're going to have an increase in price because now you got to replace that supply from somewhere. Maybe from the Saudis, maybe from Iran. And if you go to Iran, now you're going back to the Iran nuclear deal. You got to get back into that. Remember the whole big pallet of money and stuff like that? That was to give them that, to appease them, to open up some of the energy and things of that nature, rather than producing more at home. You see, the environmentalists, they don't want us to produce energy here. You know, they got the Dakota Access Pipeline protests and the Keystone XL, all these different things. They want to protest these pipelines, although it's much cleaner It's much safer and much more efficient and cheaper to get the gas from here in a pipeline underground rather than having the boat come from Saudi Arabia or Iran or Iraq or Kuwait to come across all the way across the world to bring it here to the States. Okay, what if you get a oil spill in the Atlantic Ocean? What's better, having a pipeline have a little bit of a malfunction on the land, or like the Exxon Valdez thing in Alaska? What's better? But they don't think that way. They think, I don't want to see that right here. I'm an environmentalist. I hug trees for a living. You understand? I'm a eco hustler. Therefore, let's protest a pipeline. And these ridiculous people in politics give into it. It's like, how is that going to help you at all? This is the dumbest thing in the world. So rather than getting energy from here, you got to get it from overseas. Dumbest thing in the world. Same thing with coal. We want to stop coal. We want to stop fossil fuels just to cripple our country and make us dependent, because in the meantime, while we try to develop this quote unquote renewable energy, we still need the energy. We still got cars. We still got power plants. We still got homes that got to get heated, right? So what are we going to do in the meantime? Relying upon Russia, relying upon Iran, relying upon Iraq, relying upon Kuwait. So we got to go over there. We got to fight them and all this other stuff. Bloodshed, billions of dollars. The bankers win. These big Halliburton, they win. You know, the elites, they win. What about you and me? You going to the pump counting pennies. You're making less money because you got inflation and the price of the gas is going through the roof. You're counting pennies at the pump. Okay? You're going to be paying $20 for 1 gallon because of what they're doing with this geopolitics stuff. They're doing it improperly. If they would have done what Trump suggested, which was, hey, let's just not be so reliant upon foreign oil. Let's produce it more here, because if you're relying upon foreign oil, they get leverage over you. You want to try to buck against Russia and take them out of SWIFT? All right, well, check it out. If we take Russia out of SWIFT, they're going to turn to China for more economic involvement. They'll be buddy-buddy. They'll be close. They'll get some of that yuan money, which comes from us because they got our debt and they got our manufacturing. China produces everything. They make the crack pipes. They make regular needles that we use in the hospital. They make our masks. They make our cell phones. They make our everything. These chips and whatnot come from Taiwan. Taiwan, in a few days, will be invaded by China, probably. They'll take that in the South China Sea. But it could have been all prevented if we did things properly. If we weren't relying upon Russia and China. You know, Trump had it right. Trump had the right mind state. He was like, look, let's produce more here so we're not relying upon foreign countries, because now they got leverage. They can use that in the war setting. If it's a cold war or a hot war, whatever it is. Now we got a hot war going on. And let's try to stop this trade imbalance with China. The tariffs, he was trying. He was really trying. And we see what he was talking about now coming to fruition. Now, I heard Trump was at CPAC. I've not seen that, but I got to watch that. You know, I know it was good. I know for sure it was good because he was right. He was right. You know, people clown him for his wigs and the way he talked, not wigs, pardon me, his hair and the way he talked and things of that nature. But what he said was true. It doesn't matter how someone says something if what they say is correct. You can talk about, you can make jokes at how someone says something, but if they say a true thing, you can't call them a liar. You can call him anything in the world that you want. You can say that, man, he can't talk, or he talks weird and he has a funny accent. You can say all of that, all you want to, but the facts are the facts, regardless of who says it or how it's said. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I think that it's going to get rough. I think Americans are really going to see what they had. They're going to wish they had Trump back. You know, they're going to have to flash that Trump Batman beacon in the sky and get him on back. Because this guy right here, this guy Joe Biden, has no idea what's going on. And the messed up part about it is, not only is he incompetent, but his staff is as well. You see, the staffers are a bunch of morons, the same as Joe Biden. He's being led by the staffers, thinking that they know what's going on. These are the professionals. They're morons too. They're woke. You know, LGBTQ, elemental P, they're in that camp. They're more worried about looking good for certain wings of the political party rather than having the country function properly the way that it should. You see, they're more worried about appeasing AOC. AOC is dumping their head in buckets of probably lukewarm water, talking about, oh, it's cold water, lying about the dumbest things. You worried about doing little TikTok challenges. Meanwhile, Russia is redrawing the map of Europe. China is going to take Taiwan here pretty soon. So what are we going to do about that? They got these missiles, hypersonic, it's like a video game type thing. And we're like, wow, what's that? We're way behind. We're not ready. We're not ready at all. So I can just hope that we can see what's going on and make a change, but I'm not sure how that's going to happen. I think if you have some real economic downturn, which I don't want, but if you have that, then it's like, okay, now we got to wake up. But those that wake up at that point should have already been awake to see what was going on before we went down this road. So it is what it is. All right. Is the flu came back? Did the flu come back? I saw I'm seeing some crazy headlines. The media are ridiculous. Media have no shame. Talking about the flu went away for a year mysteriously, then it came back. I was like, for real? Matter of fact, I'm gonna try to find that headline. The flu took a year off. I'm not making it up. On ABC News. Here it is. Check it out. Is it a video to go? Okay, hold on. Let me see if the video matches the actual subject. You see the headline? I'm not making it up. Flu is making a comeback in the U.S. after an unusual year off. This is a real story published at the end of December of last year, 2021, December 27, 2021. So let's see if it's a video that actually plays here about the situation.
So now this is when we typically have viewer questions for Dr. Jen, but we understand you actually have a question. You're taking over. Jen.
Yes, I do. I am taking over.
I'm ready.
So since winter and flu season is approaching, when is the best time to get the flu shot?
This is a phenomenal question because just as we're hearing about waning immunity for the COVID-19 vaccines, for the last couple of years, there's actually been some data and some rumblings kind of behind the scenes that, guess what? The same thing happens to our protection, our immunity against influenza. Now, the CDC recommends everyone gets their flu shot by the end of October. However, it depends on a lot of variables. You know, we have to wait and see a little bit what happens to our flu season this year. The blessing of the pandemic last year is that we had virtually zero influenza.
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It's like when you hear stuff like that, it's like, all right, man, y'all are playing games. The so-called doctors on TV are quacks. If you're a doctor on television, you're a quack for the most part. If you're able to go on ABC and talk and not get censored, and not get booted off the internet, you are a quack. I don't believe any doctor on television, period. Point blank, period. Okay, I take what you say with a grain of salt. Okay, so check it out. The logic is, well, we did all the measures to prevent disease from spreading, right? By the lockdown and things of that nature, but somehow the virus spread. How did the virus spread but the flu didn't spread? Make that make sense. They came out now and said that the mask that we were wearing back then didn't even work before the vax came about. So let me get this straight. If the masks don't work and the virus still spread, then how was the flu not spreading? You see what I'm saying? They say these things like you're dumb. They think you're ignorant and you don't catch these things. That's the whole thing. That's why they don't want to have school choice and homeschool and whatnot, because they don't want us to be educated. You can't think critically. That's the idea. We got to turn on the TV and believe whatever they say. Some doctor, some lady go in there, oh, the flu was off for the past 2 years. Oh, yeah, she's right. What? But the bug didn't go away? So the bug transmits the same way. It's a virus, the same as the flu. So the flu was gone, but the virus wasn't, and it is the same kind of transmission. Nobody was getting the flu shot because everybody was scared about the bug, but somehow, I mean, come on, let's stop. Let's just stop. Let's stop. So yeah, somebody said the flu took a year off. Yeah, it's what they want us to think. The flu didn't take a year off. What happened was they reclassified flu cases as the bug. Okay, you coming into the hospital coughing, you got the bug. Well, I had the flu last year. It was the same thing. You got the bug. Don't worry about it. You have the bug. That's it. You know, somebody dies in a motorcycle accident. The head comes off their body, rolls down the street Oh, that's a virus death. You test positive for the virus. Remember the lady that came out and said that? I think she was a doctor in Chicago or some kind of government official, medical professional, I forget what her title was. I'm gonna try to find that clip right quick. I'm probably not gonna find it right now. I forget what she was, but yeah, she said that live on TV. But you guys know who I'm talking about. You guys probably tell me in the comments. Yeah, what had happened was, if you ever hear that, you about to hear a big lie. You about to get taken for a ride ASAP. A ride with no Uber. All right, you about to get a piggyback ride. But anyway, exactly, Mom Bear. Mom Bear said CDC always listed fatalities as with the bug, pneumonia, or influenza. So that's 3 causes of death right there, ain't it? The bug, pneumonia, or influenza. So you got 3 things right there. So they just forget all the 3 in that thing and they focus on the 1. Ignore the other ones. Don't even count those. Just count the first one. How was that honest? How was that logical? Oh, the gaslighting is real. The gaslighting is 100% real. All right. Let me see. Did I get everything here? Ukraine, New York City, Biden pipes, Trump versus Europe, Joe Rogan. Oh, shout out to my man, Joe Rogan. And speaking of these fake doctors on TV, how does anyone think Bill Gates is some kind of medical professional? This guy is a computer programmer at best. At best. At worst, he is just a businessman, and that's it. A businessman, a rich guy with a lot of money, a philanthropist, maybe, if you want to call him that. That's kind of a stretch, in my opinion. But a businessman. So why is he allowed to say whatever he wants to say on TV? He'll say, wear a mask. Like he said, wear a mask like it's pants. Just do it. But when I see him on television, 9 times out of 10, he's not wearing the mask. He does whatever he wants to do. Okay? So, and this guy is not necessarily the picture of health. Not really. Talking about eating soy burgers and whatnot. Now, if you're a vegan, that's fine. I'm not hating on nobody. But if I want to eat a hamburger, then I'm eating a hamburger. It is what it is. All right? I'm going to do what I do. He stole Macintosh IP. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. Not surprised at all. But also the Trump mentioned Joe during CPAC. I got to see the CPAC thing that Trump was at. I may see some clips. If I find some clips, I'll put them on I'll play them during the show as we go on. But I like what Joe Rogan said about Fauci. I'll play that right quick, and then we'll try to find some more clips as they come on through. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. 100%. And hold on, let me see if I can find that right quick. Probably. Oh, I gotta search for it. There we go. Let's do it. Let's do it that way. Okay, so here's the Joe Rogan clip from his podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, as you already know. Let's go ahead and put it on the screen right quick, and we're gonna do it. So let's do this. Here we go. Let's get a little bit of sound cracking.
When a guy like that says that, I'm like, are you making money because of this? Like, why are you saying that? And by the way, you look like shit. Like, cause if
sorry for the cussing, it's not my fault. Please blame the white man.
You're eating those plant-based burgers or whatever the fuck you're doing, like, you're obese. Like, a guy like that telling people about he's got these breasts and this gut, and I'm like, this is crazy. You're one of the richest guys on earth. You have access to the best nutrients, the best. You could have an amazing trainer. You could be in phenomenal shape, and you're giving out public health advice. You're giving out health advice, and you're sick. It's like literally like a non-athlete trying to coach professionals. Like, what the f are you talking about? How are you giving any health advice when you look like that? Your health is piss poor. I'm not a doctor. But when you've got man boobs and a gut and you're walking around, you have these like toothpick arms. I'm like, hey, buddy, you're not healthy.
It's so simple, though. It's so simple. But again, I'm not trying to judge. I'm not trying to say everybody got to be looking like Joe Rogan, super fit athlete. That's not what everyone should look like. It's not necessarily realistic. It'd be great if everybody could look like, an action figure. But the point is, hey, if you look unhealthy, it's like the California health director. If you're looking like this person, I'm about to pull up right quick. If you're looking like this person, I'm about to pull up, how can you call yourself the health director, really? I mean, you look like something's wrong. I'm no doctor, right? But why are you the health director? You look like a Beetlejuice extra, keeping it all the way funky, okay? Something does not look right here. Now, again, I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm not trying to say that I'm beautiful or nothing. I'm just saying, if health is your forte, that's your thing, that's your claim to fame, you are an authority figure, you're in office in government as a health official, you have power, shouldn't you be looking healthy? Just maybe? I'm just saying. Now, if you are the pizza roll czar, then no, you're not going to be looking like Luther Rickner. You can be looking like a whole jelly roll, and that's fine, okay? If you are the pizza roll czar, if you're the honey bun czar, then by golly, be as fat and jolly as you want to be. You understand what I'm saying? But if you're the health czar, maybe look healthy, okay? I'm just saying, how you going to sit there and tell me you're not healthy, sir? Go out there and do X, Y, and Z. Well, how about you first? Once you follow your advice and you look healthy, then come holler back. Holler back when you look healthy. I look better than you do. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Olympia over here. I'm just not eating fast food, over-fried, 18-day-old garbage every day for a living. You understand? I don't use Biden's crack smoke pipes. I'm not outside smoking crack or heroin like they want me to do. I'm a drug-free person, and I like to just crack dry jokes for a living. That's what I like to do. So that's what it is. All right. Exactly, Eddie. You go first. You go first. Hey, but check it out. If I go to a restaurant, right, and I'm trying to eat some soul food, some comfort food, and I'm just, it's a cheat day and I'm chilling. I'm seeing the back and I'm seeing the chef looking like he, is pumping iron. I'm like, man, this ain't what I want. I want the chef to look like, what's that? The Russian babushka. I want one of them. Or if I go to a Filipino spot, give me the Filipino auntie and the uncle that's like kind of got a little bit of a beer belly. I'm in good company at that point. Okay. At that point, I'm not a health conscious person. But then still again, if you are 1,000,000 pounds, try losing a little bit of weight. That's all. It's very simple. You don't have to be looking like Joe Rogan, who is cut up and ripped, but try not to be 1,000,000 pounds. That's all. All right. Yeah, I don't do no drugs. I'm drug free. I'm high on life. I don't even drink coffee. Like I don't like coffee. I get jittery and weird. I'm too amped up anyway, just normally. I got too much going on. My mind races a lot. So that just ain't gonna do nothing for me. And I never liked the idea of being a dope fiend. When I was a kid, I never thought, hey, you know what I want to do as an adult? I want to be a crackhead. That's what I want to do. Because I would see that. I would see zombies walking around. I don't want to be like that. I don't even drink soda. This is water. This is mint water. This is hint water with no sugar in it. That's what I do. I got hint water and I got coconut water for hydration. That's me. I'm that kind of guy that would go to the grocery store and get a cart and it'd be like real plain stuff in it. My idea of like really doing something extra is getting a pack of cookies. That's like forbidden fruit to me, some cookies. Beyond that, no, I'm cool. I'm good money. But I move on. Yeah, I get high off polo shirts. A new polo shirt, sniff it, and I'm good to go. But I move on. If you like what you're hearing so far, get a video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Did I get to everything I wanted to get to? I think I did. Again, if I could find some Trump CPAC videos, I'll put them on the screen as they come about. But for now, I think I'm pretty much good. I got Trump versus Europe, Joe Rogan, New York City vax mandate, Ukraine, all that stuff. Now, the whole Ukraine thing, that's going to be ongoing. And I'm not sure where it's going to end. I'll say this before I go to Super Chats. I'm surprised that the Ukraine thing played out this way. I thought that Putin would just take the Donbass, which is in the far east of Ukraine. I didn't see him taking Kyiv and Lviv and all of that. That's a little crazy, but I kind of understand why he did it. I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying I understand I understand the rationale behind it. Put it to you that way. All right. That's pretty much what that is. Okay, so but we'll see what's going to happen. You know, Ukraine, they're not just laying down. Although I think that it'll pretty much be they can't really win that war, but they won't just lay down without a fight. They're not going to be like, okay, just take me over. It's going to be a consistent fight. They won't just roll over. So, you know, I commend them for that. But I think ultimately it's going to be they're going to lose that battle because of the overwhelming nature of Russia's forces. And I'll say this: there's going to be no help from the outside. Maybe there may be some supplies, maybe some weapons, but there won't be any help from the outside as far as militarily. But I'm seeing that Russians, they're kind of frustrated by the determined Ukrainian forces. They really like, I saw a tank rolling into town in Kyiv, and then it got pelted with Molotov. I'm talking about pelted with Molotov cocktails. It was like it was raining Molotov cocktails on the tank. Okay, so they're not going to just lay down and let whatever happen, and I commend them for that. But I think in the end, they will have to make some kind of concession, or they'll just be taken over completely, unfortunately. So that's just what that is. All right, so hold on. Let me see if I can see some videos here. Okay. Hold on. Here's a video right here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and play that. Let's get a little bit of sound.
You can't defend Western civilization if you would not be able to defend your own civilization. And that means we need borders that work, elections that are fair and free and not rigged, and crime that must be immediately stopped in our cities. You can't defend Western civilization if you would not be able to defend your own civilization.
I mean, straight to the point. Very well said. And, you know, it's weird to speak on the whole thing about rigged elections. That's not a new allegation from a politician. Hillary Clinton said that. Stacey Abrams said that. But when they said it, it was embraced as being true because Russia did it, right? Russia, they were involved, although there was investigation and it was found that there was no collusion between Russia and Trump and all of that. It just didn't happen. Really, it was Hillary Clinton doing the spying and the lying and the cheating, the carrying on. We found that out. That's what's going on. That Trump was spied on, all this and that. But when Trump says anything about that, then it's vilified. So we know the media can't be trusted. They are the Democratic Party's enforcement arm. They'll say whatever helps the Democratic Party, and they'll do whatever hurts us on the right. That's just what it is. It's so simple. And that's why the legacy media is dying. And pretty soon they'll be gone. They'll be replaced by independent journalists. And the best people that are proven to be right time and time again will rise to the top. And that's how it's going to work. We're going to reset. Talking about a great reset. We're going to reset the mainstream media, and it'll come back to our hands rather than these big conglomerates that don't promote anything other than their handlers' requests. It's simple. It is so simple. Somebody says, Kofefe says, ABL, stop. It's Kiev, not Kyiv. Did I say Kyiv? That's my fault. I knew it was Kiev too, but they kept saying Kyiv on TV. See, that's what I'm saying. I've been I've been bamboozled by the mainstream media. This is why they suck. I don't know. I don't know why they're calling it Kyiv on TV. They do things like that, and I don't really know why. But there's a specific reason they do it. Just like there's a reason why they capitalize black when they write things. Like if you see an article from the mainstream media, they'll capitalize black when speaking about race, but not white. They do that for a purpose. Like it's part of the AP style guide. They updated that because it's like you got to capitalize black because they've been through oppression and stuff like that. It's real. That's legitimately in the AP style guide that you got to capitalize black because of their oppression and how marginalized they are, but don't do it for white because they've not gone through the same oppression. Okay, so that's kind of what that is. So they do weird things like that all the time, but I don't always know why. I'm sure there's a reason why they're saying Kyiv rather than Kiev. And part of my accent, I'm probably saying it wrong because I'm saying Kiev. Kiev. I'm going to say Kiev. How about that? Rather than Kyiv. So if I'm saying it wrong still, it's not my fault. Blame the white man. But I'll move on to the super chats. And then we're going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I'll get to the calls in a few moments. Y'all just hang tight. Well, I'll do super chats, and then we'll keep on rocking and rolling. Okay, what's the date of 26? Yes, it is. And let's go here. Thank you to Apple for a few super chats. I'm going to read those. It says, pray for peace for Ukraine. Pray for the children. Also, Clinton's and Biden's use the Ukrainian government as their personal ATM. Now the innocent people of Ukraine are paying the price. Democrats with their rainbow flags and BLM banners are also to blame. There you go. Also, I remember a certain president who said to Mitt Romney, the 1980s call, they want their foreign policy back. Well, yeah, I remember that. I sure do. Also, I remember that same president pleading with the Russian official to tell Putin to give him a bit of flexibility for his final presidential campaign. He's speaking about Mr. Barack Obama. I remember that. Biden administration spied on Russia, gave the info to the Chinese who told the Russians. The Democrat foreign policy establishment is so awesome, not fools. Exactly. I mean, stuff like that that's what I'm talking about right there. When I say that the staffers running the show and they don't know what's going on, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, you spying on Russia and you saw them amassing on Ukraine's border and you tell China about it. Why would you tell China? What are they going to do to help you? Why would China help you, the U.S., with Russia on the border of Ukraine? China and Russia are besties at this point, from what I can see. So why would you tell them about what's happening with Ukraine? They're not going to help you. They're going to tell Russia. Because China and Russia, like you want to try to attack the Chinese, and I don't understand the logic here. There's zero logic. They're neighboring countries. They're allies. Essentially, they're on the same page. It's dumb politics. It's bad leadership because there are no leaders. You got these interns and staffers just doing whatever. Pete Sangria says, what's up with all the propaganda surrounding Ukraine? Liberals are tripping. It's nuts. It really is nuts. Thank you to Josh Fox, who says, where was all this war drumming when China unleashed the virus? They crippled the entire Western world with their virus, and to even suggest China was responsible for it, we were called racist and conspiracy theorists. That's correct. That is the right thing. Apple also says, do you think roly-poly Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and his portly brother are going to go defend his home? Ukraine is another Democrat Party failure. That's a good question. I don't know about that. He may. Also, God bless J6 MAGA Patriots in DC jail solitary. Let me see. What were your father's hobbies, mom's hobbies? Well, my dad was all over the place. Dad, he did pretty much everything, but he worked most of the time because he was a firefighter, and then he had like 3 or 4 jobs at his peak. So he was just a guy that was involved in the community. I'll put it to you that way. Like, he was involved in politics. He was a guy that you would see at a poll, working the polls. He was that kind of person, just to be in the community, being involved with church and stuff like that. He was a real popular person, put it to you that way. And mom was just the kind of person that would be more chill, more kind of kick back, and she just enjoyed family and and friends and the kids and stuff like that. That was more her thing. Just being like a woman, I guess you would say. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what, because they from West Virginia, the culture is a little bit different. Put it to you that way. What do my grandparents do in their free time? I don't really know. I'm not really sure. And all I know is about what my dad's dad, what he was doing was the same thing as my dad. Man in the community, everybody knew him, going to events, had a million suits. That's why I first saw a shoehorn. Granddad had piles of dress shoes everywhere, ties, shoes. I mean, he was that kind of guy that was everywhere. I'll be riding with him in the car. He had this company. He had it because he worked for the school board in Roanoke, and they gave him a matter of fact, he was in the school board of Virginia. He met Governor Wilder and everything back in the day. And back then he had this white, it wasn't a Ford Bronco, but it looked like a Ford Bronco. You understand? It looked like that. He had a car phone in it. And I was riding around with everybody respecting him. Hey, Mr. Logan, like that was pretty much Granddad that I remember. Okay. The women in my family, all the women were more focused on the children and the grandchildren. That was their thing. And homemaking and all that kind of stuff. Cooking, homemaking, that's what it was. This modern stuff was not a thing they did at all. All right. But I move on. My first car, I had a RAV4. I had a 96 Toyota RAV4. It was my dad's car he gave to me when I was 16. And when I first got the car, I wrecked it. Literally. Shout out to my man, Matt. So I had to go get the car because it needed I took the car to a mechanic because right when I got it, it needed work. It needed a fuel pump and some more stuff. So I wanted to go get it from the car shop, but it was way in Virginia Beach somewhere. And I'm like probably about 15 minutes away on the interstate. So I went to go get the car and I got on the interstate, but I've not done driving before on the interstate. So going fast and it was a whole lot going on. I thought I could follow Matt and he would just kind of like guide me. And because he was always good with driving, my friend Matt back in the day. But unfortunately, Matt was just hot dogging. We 16. He left me on the interstate. So now I'm like, oh man, I messed up. So I get off on the exit to my house, but I'm focused on trying to see the cars coming so I can merge into the street. But I neglect to look forward. So when I look forward, there's a whole work truck right in front of me. Boom, crash right into it. Now, luckily, it's a work truck, so it had this big steel bumper on the back. I didn't do damage to the bumper of the work truck, but my whole front end was kind of smushed. Now, luckily, it was on like a busted tail light and the bumper was off, stuff like that. It wasn't like I did any real damage to the car, but I took it right back to the shop to get body work done on it. When I was on the way back from the shop because of the water pump and the timing belt, it was crazy. So yeah, shout out to Matt. Shout out to Matt. And shout out to the RAV4. I love that car. Matter of fact, that RAV4, funny story, as I get to Superchats a little bit. I traded that RAV4 back to Granny, to Dad's dad in Roanoke, because she had a Camry I liked. I wanted to upgrade. I wanted to be fancy. So I traded the RAV4 for the Camry to Granny. And that RAV4, I was in Roanoke probably like, when was I in Roanoke? Probably like 3 years ago, I was up in Roanoke, and that car was still there. A 96 RAV4 was still rocking and rolling like 2018. Okay, it was crazy. Granny had passed away many years ago before that, and I don't know who had that car. One of my cousins had the car. That thing was still rolling. Looked like it was like I had it 20 years ago, the same kind of condition. But anyway, I'll move on. So, opinion on NHL going all in on Black History Month. I didn't even notice. Who would have known? If you didn't tell me right there, I wouldn't have known. Because who's watching NHL that really cares about Black History Month? Really? Yeah, but I had all kind of cars. I had I had a RAV4 at first. Then I had the Camry. I've had all Toyotas. I had a RAV4, Camry, the 4Runner, my favorite, up until my car now. Then I went back down to a Corolla, another RAV4, and now I got the Tundra. All right. But no, not him, Devin. Matt that I know. Y'all know Matt. Shout out to Blues, who says ABL be hitting the facts. Thank you for that. Fauna Face says Joe Biden is truly a blessing. He has from the beginning given out red pills and red Kool-Aid to wash it down with for everyone. Let's go, Brandon. F.A. Ranger Xbox says YouTube Bill Gates Munich Security Conference. Watch it 8 days ago. He is sad. Excuse me. He is sad that the Omarion is like a vaccine itself. Yeah, I saw that. He was like, unfortunately, the Omarion is like a vaccine itself. It's like, why is it unfortunate? If you catch the bug and it gives you protection, why is it a bad thing? It's so dumb. All right. Let me see. Also, Fauna Face says, saw a show called 1,000 Pound Friends, and one of the girls compared herself to Beyonce, but it's so big, she got a pee mat on the side of her bed because she can't make it to the toilet on time. Pitiful. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you are that big to where you got that going on, like I saw one of these shows, like 1,000 Pound Life, and one of the young ladies was getting sprayed like a car outside as a bath. If you're getting a car wash on your back patio for a bath, try losing a little bit of weight. Yes. If you can't fit into a shower at all or in a tub, at least a shower. I'm not really a big tub guy. I'm kind of tall. But if you can't fit into a shower, if you got to go out back and get hose like a dog or a car, that ain't the wave. Also, are we on time for the 5 o'clock Brandon free crack giveaway? Thank you to Noel, who says, dang, I got my 1-year badge. About to spark the free Crisette pipe I got in the mail to celebrate. YouTube wouldn't let me use crack. Wow. That's crazy. Thank you to, I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. Placate Yusabe, who says, we're not giving that junk out just because he said Catholic Church is giving it out. Doesn't mean it's true. Well, I mean, you saw it. It was actually on video. You saw the crack pipe. You saw it in the bag with the company name and everything. So it doesn't matter who's giving it out. The reality is that it's right there. And why would he lie about that? Why would he lie and say that they're giving it out if they're not? We know you got some woke churches out there. Not all of Catholic churches, Baptist churches, not everywhere is going to be woke like that, but I've seen some woke stuff. I follow this Twitter account called Woke Preachers. Pardon me, let me get it right. Let me make sure I get the right thing here, because I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing. It's a lot of good accounts out there. I just want to say the right one. So hold on one second. It is Woke Preacher Clips, I think. I believe so. I'm going to find this right quick. Just so, okay, yeah. So Woke Preacher TV on Twitter, at Woke Preacher TV. And the name says Woke Preacher Clips. Now, I'm not going to play it right here, but I see this sermon clip of a guy talking about how you have white women getting plastic surgery because they're jealous of black women. This is a preacher in the pulpit talking about this. So if you got that going on, then why is it a far cry to think that they be handing out drug paraphernalia kits? Why not? Why not? In LA? Why not? Why wouldn't they do that in LA? Now, if you're talking about somewhere logical, then that'd be kind of a stretch. But Los Angeles, I mean, come on. Let's move right along here. Thank you to Noah, who says, I would like to give a shout out to my coworker Joe for recently just subscribing. And also tell him that it looks like a tall refrigerator. That is all. So shout out to Joel, the tall refrigerator. Shout out to you, man. Hopefully you got some nice, good food in the fridge. You know what I'm talking about? Now, thank you to Matt, who says, Matt McKee, not my Matt, but a different Matt. Matt McKee says, Mr. Obvious, post 50 minutes ago, appears to be still looking down at the grass and not up at it, alive and well. Thank you to Eric Cruz for the, what's that, a laughing emoji? Thank you for that. Thank you to Bugs Bunny for your donation. Thank you to Matthew, who says Putin is not joking. He was fighting literal Nazis in Ukraine, the same kind that Grandpa fought. Now, I've been hearing about that, but I have no idea what he's talking about. So maybe you guys can educate me on the whole Nazi thing. I have no clue what's going on with that. If he's correct, incorrect, or whatever. Happy Garcia says, hey, ABL, do you think home care agencies that care for disabled people should be able to require clients to get vaxxed in order to go out? Or should clients be able to choose to go out without the vax? I don't really understand the question. So should they require the patients to go out? I don't understand. But there should be no requirements for vax at all, regardless of what. Okay, and thank you to Fauna Faye, who says, cringiest thing I saw in the past few days was that one woman who saying that Putin would be better if she was his mother and she's younger than he is. Yeah, you guys want to see some cringe? Have you guys seen that on my Instagram? Okay. I didn't read the comments, but I take it as a yes. You guys want to see the cringe. All right, let's go ahead and rock that right quick. And shout out to Fauna Faye for this particular reminder right here. This actress is Annalyn McCord. She was on 90210, the reboot back in 2008 or 9, something like that. So let's go ahead and play this. Hold on, let's get some sound. Pardon me.
Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry that I was not your mother. If I was your mother, you would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm. So much laughter and joy, and nothing would harm. I can't imagine the stain, the soul-stealing pain that the little boy you must have seen and believed, and the formulation of thought quickly taught that you lived in a cruel, unjust world. Is this why you now decide no one will get the best of you? Is this why you do not hide nor away shy from taking back the world? Was it because so early in life, all that strife racked your little body with fear? If I was your mother, if the world was cold, I'd have died to make you warm. I'd have died to protect you from the unjust, the violence, the terror, the uncertainty. I would have died to give you life. Oh, dear Mr. President Putin, if only I'd been your mother.
Okay, that's enough right there. You get the gist. If you want to see the full clip, the full 2 minutes of cringe, go to my Instagram page, instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan. Again, that was Annalyn McCord. Ladies and gentlemen, was that a good performance? Is she going to get the Oscar, the Grammy, the Tony, the Golden Globe, the Pulitzer? Is she going to get an award for that or no? Okay, I can guarantee you she has no children at all. A cat farmer at best. Keep her all the way 1,000. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. But I mean, stuff like that, that's not going to do anything at all. That's just her trying to get some attention on social media. That's all. That is it, and that is all. You already know what time it is. Okay, let's get to some more super chats here. Yeah, she's like 34. Putin is 70. He could be her grandfather, but that's a different story. Well, her dad especially, but probably her granddad. Well, let me see. Okay, let me go back to where I was. Fauna Face says, you saw when Saki tried to school Peter on diplomacy at the press conference. I've not seen that. I need to check it out. Fauna Face also says, sad when Cardi B has a better take than 99% of the left wing on the Ukraine situation. By the way, that health lady on the screen looked like she's dead. Thank you to Steve O for the emoji donation. And also who says it was way slower than it should have been. And did I get everybody here? Let me go back to where I was. Thank you to Fauna Faye, who says, if whites didn't go through oppression and hardships, then what was World War II about? Pesky details, pesky details, right? Pesky facts. Let's not be concerned about that. Let's only worry about American slavery and nowhere else in the world. No other hardships. Not the Great Leap Forward, Bolshevik Revolution, World War II, World War I, Civil War, the plague, the Crusades. Let's not worry about that. Let's just talk about, you know what I mean? Let's just talk about here in our quote unquote hardships. Bull versus Windshield says the ghost of Kiev supposedly has shot down 6 Russian jets with his old MiG-29. Russia does not have control of Kiev airspace, running out of gas. Thank you to Lisa White, who says, you were great on Brandon Tatum last night. Great panel. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Farno Faye, who says, saw where Joy Bear is mad she can't go to Italy because of the crisis. True definition of first world privilege problems. Right, exactly. Look, man, we got this crisis going on. I can't even go to Italy. I can't even go enjoy myself on the Riviera, on the beach, hanging out, chilling. I can't go on the gondola. It's like, meanwhile, I'm at the pump counting change for gas, right? That's kind of the idea that's a problem right now in America with a lot of people and these elites or wannabe elites. Bull versus Windshield says the only good thing about Black History Month is I learned about Bass Reeves, the real Lone Ranger. He was the for reals deal. Always got his man. I didn't look him up. I've not heard of him. Bass Reeves. I'll check him out. Thank you to Lyle Peterson, who says I haven't felt good since the second Moderna shot. Kind of short of breath. I'm overweight, but I do think I messed up getting the jab. Well, I can't say you did, but I can't say you didn't either. So, hopefully you're good to go and you be okay. Wolfgang Dio says, well, Russian stocks are cheap, so I'm going to buy some up. As far as a potential war that America gets pulled into, have fun. Already did my service. Well, there you go. Thank you to Steve-O, who says propaganda. Aaron Bethay says, allegedly Bill Gates took Steve Jobs' work and got the fame and fortune. Gates is a fraud. It's like what the rivalry between Tesla and Macaroni was. Marconi, partner Macaroni. Marconi. Thank you to Crunchy D, who says, are Ukrainians considered white? Because I don't see their privilege. We totally just throw it out the window when it doesn't apply to what we want to say. Thank you to Jay, who says, where is all this energy when it comes to little girls from Latin America being taken in to SEX slavery literally every day by cartels and coyotes? We don't care about that. Same thing with the Chinese. They get brought over here and they put in slavery too. You'll see, like, watch the news and just you'll see certain things presented in a way that's not telling you the full story, but you can kind of put 2 and 2 together. For example, if you see some kind of Chinese massage parlor, Happy Lucky Massage, or some generic name like that, how it always is, and they get busted, and then they show mug shots, and it'd be 4 Chinese women, 50 years old, with straight Chinese names, Lo Ming He Say, or something like that. They don't speak no English. How did they get here? Why are they here? What are they doing here? You already know what time it is. If they got busted, you know what's happening inside the place. If they don't speak English, they're being trafficked over here. That's what's going on. Okay, that is the truth. But I'll move on. Shout out to Bull versus Windshield, who says, I can envision the world of peace and love. I can also see us taking them over because they would never expect it. And that's a quote from Jack Handy, 1995. Thank you to Thomas, a conservative, who says, Ukraine, give them hell. Don't go quietly. God bless. And shout out to Steve-O for the pom-pom emoji to cheerlead, and I appreciate you for that. Okay, we got calls on deck. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. If Skype wants to act improperly, don't blame me. It's not my fault. Blame the white man that made Skype or Bill Gates because I said something about him and he wants to interfere with my stream. Thank you to Shell Beach, who says, if I was your daddy, well, I digress. Last super chat right there. Okay, let's get to the calls here. And all righty, Matt, what's going on?
ABL, turkey, man.
You said what now?
You're drive turkey. Hey, listen, if I were Joe's father, he wouldn't know what love is, man. It's just crazy. What's up with that poem, that lady? Is it a slam poem?
I have no idea what that was. I might have been a freestyle.
Oh my God. Hey, everybody's trying to compare, what Putin's doing to, what other nations have done. But man, a great comparison, I think, that would work would be to compare it to Libya, when the United States invaded Libya.
Yeah.
So we went into Libya and no one said boo. And here in Seattle, we have a local celebrity by the name of Rick Steves. He's just this political hack, and he sets up all these travel agencies and stuff like that, where he basically sells vacations and tours and that kind of stuff to people. And this guy hasn't said anything about Libya whatsoever, but apparently Ukraine is too much for him. And he's basically boycotting Russia, and he's not allowing the tours to go over to Russia because it would fill the Russian coffers. So, ironically, there are real neo-Nazis in Ukraine. If you just Google neo-Nazis Ukraine, it's actually pervasive. The one group that's doing most of the fighting over there, the group that's basically the Ukrainian National Guard, is called the Azov movement. And even The Intercept just reported this morning about how confusing it is that the Azov movement has been banned from Twitter and from all these social media platforms because they're patently anti-gay, anti-people of color. They're a Ukrainian nationalist movement that's anti-Russian altogether, and basically wants an ethnic state installed in Ukraine, and that's who we're backing. That's one of many groups that we're backing that are exactly like this. They invented the Tiki Torch movement. So the Tiki Torches that you saw in Charlottesville, this is where this stuff came from.
Now, is that like the majority of the resistance against Russia? Is it those guys, or is it?
So yeah, in the Donbas region, basically the Russians haven't so much been there. Basically, it's been Russian ethno people, the people that speak Russian are ethnically Russian, fighting neo-Nazis. And in this area, which is the most eastern part of Ukraine, these two groups have been going back and forth. And Russia, for the most part, has supported them, and the Ukraine's kind of supported the other side, but neither side has really been fighting. So what's going on is that the Russians are kind of cracking down on it, and it's cascading into basically an invasion of Kiev. So I do think there's good people in Ukraine, but Ukraine is incredibly diverse. Overwhelmingly, it's two countries. There's a pro-European Ukraine and there's a pro-Russian Ukraine, but also the pro-European Ukraine they've got a huge Nazi problem. And I'm not even saying like Nazi like the way that the liberals use Nazi. I'm saying self-professed proud Nazis. Google the Azov movement. It's spelled A-Z-O-V.
I had no idea. That's I'm gonna check it out and see what's going on with it.
Yeah, man. That's all I got for you.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, be good.
All right, shout out to Matt for the call. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go. All right, calling the line. Speak to 847.
Hello?
Yes, 847. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Drew from Chicago. How you doing, man?
I'm well, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Just have to say, love the show. First heard you with B. Tatum. Love those live streams, but yeah, man, following your content ever since. But I wanted to ask you, like, what are your thoughts on this Ukraine thing? I don't know if you've heard, so I've listened to some other folks talk about it. They're trying to say that it's like overblown in a sense. What are your thoughts on the situation?
Well, I'm not sure if it's overblown. I think that if you compare it to other things that have happened, like we're talking about just now with the whole Libya thing, when we invaded Libya, there wasn't really a peep. It was just like whatever. We invaded Libya and killed a leader, and it wasn't even the problem. Now, if we go to Ukraine and kill the president, then it'd be an issue. Okay, Russia can invade Ukraine, not kill the president, but just take it over. That's a problem. We go to Libya, kill the leader of it, and take it over. That's not a problem. And we did it with NATO. So it's just weird. I think it's just the media have different reactions because they're trying to fulfill a political purpose. Because remember, Russia, big, bad, evil country. Putin is the worst guy in the world. Blame him. But when China takes Taiwan, this won't be the reaction. I guarantee you.
100%. To me, it's just weird that this is all like happening as they are, ending the mandates and all of that good stuff. I feel like nobody's even talking about COVID right now. So basically, like a couple of weeks ago, they were like, they knew like a date that they were going to invade Ukraine, which seemed weird, but people's attention spans are super short. So I feel like the media is using it as a distraction from, basically wanting people to forget all of the stuff with the mandates. Obviously, they, with the midterms coming up, they need people that have a short memory there. But it's just crazy, like how the news, like it switches then people's focuses on an entirely different thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I saw a meme I got on the screen right now. It's like a stage with a spotlight, the curtains and whatnot, and in the background of the image, you got guys rolling the pandemic back behind the curtain. And in front of that, they're rolling war into the curtain. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, focus on the war, focus on Ukraine, the mask and the lockdowns and the mandates for the past 2 years. Forget about that. That's a thing of the past. And you're right. People have very short attention spans. If you put something in front of them and say, focus on this, nothing else, a lot of normies will do it and they'll forget about the past. But I hope that a lot of us won't forget the past couple of years when it comes time for the midterms.
Let's hope not. I mean, in my opinion, I think that the last couple of years has been crimes against humanity to the highest degree. It was total manipulation. Curious too, do you follow like any mainstream? Because obviously, like the left wing sources are, those are obviously no good. But Fox, I feel like I'm indifferent about. Tucker Carlson, I like, but I feel like sometimes they're not telling the full truth either. You feel the same way on that?
Yeah, of course, because, mainstream media, they're not going to tell the full truth. I think Fox is all we have on the mainstream media, obviously, but they're not going to go all the way there. So I read a lot of my news nowadays because you don't get a lot of the editorializing that you would get on mainstream media television. So I read various sources to get to the bottom of it. And then if it's an event that happens, like a local thing, okay, somebody gets shot in Podunk Town, Nowhereville, USA. I'll read the local news out there to see what's going on before the national news because I'm less likely to have spin.
100%. Yeah, I think all the listeners too, I don't know if you're familiar with either of these books. One of them is called The Progressive Virus by Dr. Anthony Napoleon, and then the other one's called Shadow Men. And basically, like in Shadow Men, he outlines that, the lobbyists, the groups, and whatever basically control of all the the major mainstream outlets, the government, all of that stuff. And basically what I feel like at this point, all the politicians are basically bought and paid for, at least on the Democratic side. So, hopefully they don't have a communist takeover. I feel like that's what they're trying to, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens.
We shall see.
For sure. All right. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, peace.
All right, great call. Let's get to a few more here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling to the next one. Let's go to 908. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, Mary.
All righty. I got a little bit of background noise.
I just turned off the radio. Anyhow, I wanted to call about Ukraine. ABL. This is ABL, right?
Yes, it's me. You speaking to me?
Okay. So anyhow, remember in 2014, Soros and Hillary Clinton, they caused a color revolution there. I don't know why they call it color, but they caused a revolution, and then they overthrew the elected president who had a large number of supporters that voted for him, and they overthrew him and put in this other one and said, "Oh, come with NATO," and stuff like that. And also, I was listening to some stuff on the radio, with certain channels, online channels, on live TV and on Viva, and they had like some Russian people or people familiar who had lived there. And okay, the one thing the Russian guy said, he said, yeah, the Western Ukraine, when the Nazis came, they welcomed them in. And Russia liberated them later, but now it's gotten to be a movement where they said war heroes, like they said there's about 70% Russian people who support Russia, and but the people from World War II, like they're in their 90s, they can't even wear their medals because they'll be harassed by these Nazi people who are still Nazi. And anyhow, it's like Hillary and basically the NATO, the New World Order, they're stirring them up. That's what they're doing to them.
That makes sense.
And also one more thing, that the Russian guy said I saw on a different show how they have the United States put in like about 8 different centers near the Russian border throughout the Ukraine that are like these viral to produce viruses, okay, just like in Wuhan. And the United States evidently put those in. And also, Ukraine has done certain things to agitate the pro-Russian people who are living more in the West. And like they cut off the water supply. They blocked a river and made it flow so that the people in the Crimea wouldn't get any water. They've done stuff like that. And they've done real harassment to them. So they're not completely innocent. I think they've been used by the New World Order people. And that's what I feel bad what's happening. My mother's family was all from that area. And I do feel bad, but I think they were used by the New World Order people.
Okay.
And that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I guess there's some more calls here. Let's go to, all right, 501, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Logan from Conway, Arkansas. What's going on, man?
It's all good. About yourself?
Oh, man, I can't believe I actually got through to you. My nephew wants to say hi. Say hi, Anthony. No, he's too scared.
It's all good.
Hi, man, I can't believe I got through. Well, man, I just wanted to say, dude, so I got rid of my Facebook page like forever ago, but I started detailing cars a while back, and I made another one just to kind of get my name out there, but I posted about the Joe Biden crack pipe thing, and I put a link to your video about it on there. And I was like, man, Joe Biden's handing out free crack pipes. And they fact-checked me, dude. So I ditched it. I ditched Facebook.
Yeah, I don't blame you because, that's a common occurrence, getting fact-checked when you're totally right. Like, when I saw that they were on TV doing the campaign talking about, oh, there's no crack. I'm like, yes, there is crack pipes. I'm showing you the actual kits. I see the crack pipe in it. What are we talking about? So the fact checks are just bogus. And I've been fact-checked on a partially incorrect, or they said I didn't give full context. Like they said what I said was true, but without context. It's like, well, what's a fact check then? If it's true, it's true. So yeah, I don't blame you for ditching it.
Yeah, man. Like I've heard of it happening to other people, but I never thought it would happen to little old me with like 12 friends, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, nah, man, we're not going to do this. And I just went ahead and ditched it, man. I wasn't really getting nothing out of it anyway. But, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. The stuff that's going on in Ukraine is just crazy, man. But I kind of look to you for like all my news, man. So keep up the good work, man. I know you got a lot of callers, man. I'll talk to you later, bud.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that fact checking is crucial. You know, I posted something. I forget what that was. They fact checked me on Instagram. Instagram was worse. Matter of fact, I'm shadow banned on Instagram, and they got it to where if you try to mention me on Instagram, it won't let you do it. And they say something like, well, this user has posted consistently false information about the COVID-19. It's like, man, everything I said is right. 100% right. Fact check me for real. Like, let's have a debate. I'll come on my whole binder of information, news sources, New York Times, Fox News, CBS, CNN, ABC, all of that. Doctors, nurses, lawyers, judges, everybody, the government. I go to the cdc.gov and pull up all the information I got. cdc.gov right now, I pull it up and see if I'm telling a lie. I don't tell lies. That's one thing I don't like is when people call me a liar. I don't tell lies. I'm an honest person. I'm a person that has no ego. Like if I don't know, I'm gonna say I don't know. If you ask me a question, I'm gonna say I don't know about that. I don't know. People sometimes will just say they'll know something or they'll lie to save face. I don't particularly care too much about that because I got confidence in myself to not have to do that. But I'm getting triggered, so again, I move on. Let's go to the next one here. 862, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Alex calling in from Lakeland, Florida.
All righty, man. What's going on?
No, I just wanted to touch on the SWIFT system with Russia being taken off of the SWIFT system.
Yeah.
That really doesn't mean anything because SWIFT system is going away. It will be replaced by a company called Ripple. They are currently in a lawsuit right now with the SEC for selling XRP, which is a cryptocurrency digital asset, as unregistered securities. They've already pretty much lost this lawsuit. It's pretty much over with. But Ripple is going to be the new system that will be moving money around the globe. Right now with SWIFT, it is an antiquated. So it's like playing Atari to compose to your Xbox One that's out right now. Basically, it is faster to put your money in a suitcase, hop on an airplane, and fly the money to your destination. So if you want to send like $1 million to the Philippines, currently right now, using the SWIFT system, you would have to go from a bank here in America to a bank into Europe, then to a bank over into China, then to a bank into the Philippines, which is going from U.S. dollar to euro to yuan, then it's going into the Filipino peso. Each bank is taking its cut, each bank is taking its fee, and that process takes a week. Ripple is solving that problem by converting U.S. dollar into XRP, sending XRP directly to the Philippines, that $1 million, and then that turns into Filipino XRP, goes into Filipino pesos. The transaction's done in 4 seconds or less, and it's fractions of the cost. It basically will cost that to send that $1 million will probably cost you around $1 or less using Ripple.
Okay. So crypto is going to be like a serious thing coming up here because is that going to be how we really transfer money? We're speaking about governmental level.
Yes, by 2025, we're expected to no longer be using traditional money. It is all going to be digital dollars, digital yuan, digital ruble, digital U.S. dollar. XRP is going to be the bridge currency between all these. XLM is going to be playing another large part. Algorand is going to be another one playing a large part. I do believe we're going to be using Coinbase's United States dollar coin as our new United States dollar, as our new digital dollar. But yeah, as far as SWIFT goes, it's an antiquated system. It's a dinosaur. It's too costly, and it takes too much time. Cryptocurrency and these digital assets are solving that problem, and it's pretty much doing it in seconds at fractions of the cost. So taking Russia off the SWIFT system literally does nothing because pretty soon everybody's going to be off the SWIFT system and using Ripple. So it's like a big nothing burger pretty much.
Makes a lot of sense, 100%.
But Yeah, another thing with the Tampa had a gun show today, and I see this guy at the gun show all the time. He is from Russia. He has been saying the same exact thing that everyone else has been calling in about the neo-Nazi. He's been talking about this for years. I've been talking to him about this, and he always talks about the neo-Nazis invading Ukraine and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get too much into it. You got a lot of other callers, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that he's actually from Russia, and he's pro-Russian and all that stuff, and he says Ukraine needs to be liberated, and Putin is not the bad guy in this situation coming out of his mouth. But, so I'm not too sure about all that, but that's what he says, so who knows?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out in the end.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. You got a great show going on, man. I love your show. Keep it up, and I'll try to call in sometime later.
Well, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Good, man. Have a good night.
Wow. So crypto is pretty serious here, and you know what? What he's saying about the digital coins, that makes sense because there's not much cash in the world actually. Okay, if like I was saying before, if everybody went to the bank and tried to just cash out, you couldn't. It doesn't exist. It's all digital anyway. Well, like 98% of our money is digital. 98% of our money, probably now close to 100%. We just had all this money get printed in the past year or two. Okay, so that's all digital. They didn't just make a bunch of money. That's all digital. It's just, what I mean? You get stuff put on your card. We're going to be cashless pretty soon here. And quite frankly, I use cash, but not that much. I use cash as like tips when I go to a restaurant. I give you $20 for a tip, whatever it is. Tipping the valet, cash. But beyond that, I don't do it. Everything is pretty much digital. Really, I pay everything on my credit card, but that's a different story. And I don't want to get too deep into that, so I digress. Let's go to 502. You don't line. Who am I speaking to?
Barry from Kentucky.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Hey, I have a question. If with today's society, if we had an attack like 9/11, do you think our country would be united today as it was on 9/12?
That's a very good question. I think so. I think most people. Okay, here's my answer. I think the average person, the normies that aren't really plugged into online social media, I think we're gonna be pretty much on the same page. But some of the wokesters, when they get attention from being weird, they probably won't. But that won't be the majority of us. I think most of us will pretty much be on the same page. But some are not going to be.
Do you think that there would be a protest against the people who do stand up?
No, I don't think so. Because I think the people that would be against those that are uniting would not be enough in number to make any kind of a difference or any kind of a, like 1 to 1,000 is not really enough to really make a difference, in my opinion. But I've been wrong before on an opinion, so that could be wrong, but I don't think so. Not like a serious attack like 9/11, because that was really a thing that kind of brought us together. Everybody had the American flag. Nobody was doing that before. Like, it was a whole different thing at that time.
Right. I was just wondering, I mean, with the division that this country is in right now, it would just seems to me to be an interesting question on where people would fall.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's kind of hard to tell. And my first instinct is to say that I think most people would pretty much be on the same page. I think that'd pretty much be what it is. Just like right now with Ukraine, I don't think most people say, yeah, go ahead and just kill people in Ukraine just because. I don't think that's really the sentiment all over the country in America. And I think we're all against going over there. That's not really a big subset of America that says, yeah, let's go to war in Ukraine. I think that's not really. So we can't be on the same page for certain things. It just depends on what happens and when it happens.
Right. Now, when Ukraine did the peace treaty thing, when they got rid of their nukes and Russia agreed not to invade them, didn't they violate a treaty? So wouldn't other countries be allowed to help them at that point, regardless of NATO?
But I don't really know. I think maybe they could, but they're not going to. They're not obligated to help Ukraine.
Right. But like with Taiwan is technically owned by China, correct? That is their physical property. They own Taiwan, correct?
Technically, in the eyes of China, they own Taiwan, but Taiwan disagrees. So there's a conflict there.
Right, I understand, but they're not part of NATO, but yet we'll go in and help them.
No, we're not going to help. We're not going to help Taiwan. No, we're not. Like you think we're going to go? You think we're going to go fight China and Taiwan? You think we're going to do that?
But do you think we would help them be faster than what we're doing now for Ukraine?
We're not going to help Taiwan or Ukraine. And if you could pick between the two for America to help, it'd be Ukraine because they're close to Poland, which is a NATO country, and it'd make more sense to help them if you're going to help anybody. But Taiwan, no, because you had to fight China, and that would be disastrous for the whole world. Fighting Russia would be bad too for the whole world, but China, no.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, sir, and you have a great night. And you keep up the good fight.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Yeah, we're not gonna help no Taiwan. If China says, you know what, all right, we'll take it Taiwan. All right, well, thoughts and prayers. I mean, no. The most we would do is help them with arms, but we probably wouldn't even do that because you got to go through South China Sea, and we're not going through South China Sea because China will have that. China will have that whole thing. It's just no, not China. If it was Afghanistan and it's like some other, we can deal with small countries, but not China or Russia or even Pakistan or India. But I won't go down that road, so I'll move on. Let's go to the next one here. Let's go to 931. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello.
Yes, hello.
ABL, it's good to talk to you.
Likewise.
Hey, man, we're from Tennessee. We just want to tell you how we love what you're doing. Hey, ABL.
Hey, what's going on?
Good to talk to you. Hey, not too much. I really wasn't expecting to get an answer on the call, but so we listened to Trump here tonight, and he's talking about Ukraine and everything, how he seems to think that all this Ukraine disaster wouldn't be going on if he was in office. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think that sounds right? Or
I believe he's right because what's going on right now with Ukraine is kind of it's like part of a domino effect. I think the first thing that went wrong was the whole Afghanistan withdrawal because everybody saw that. Right. Russia saw that, China, the whole world saw that, and they saw how unprepared we were. So if we can't even hold an airport in Kabul and we're losing American soldiers for no reason, really, just unnecessary, ridiculous stuff, a whole big botched effort. If we can't even do that properly, then how are we going to help Ukraine? How can anybody help Ukraine? So, okay, we have an opening. We're going to take Ukraine. And then Biden had let Germany get Nord Stream 2, which was going to help Russia.
Right.
So, I mean, you're making all kinds of missteps. Okay, I got Nord Stream 2. They're going to pause it for a while, but they still got it. They still got through the barrier of having the U.S. sign off on it. So we got Nord Stream 2. You guys can't help. Let's go take Ukraine right now. Y'all not going to do anything. And he was right. And then the next thing is going to be China saying, okay, they couldn't hold the airport in Kabul. They gave him Nord Stream 2, and they gave him Ukraine. We're going to take Taiwan. And they won't do anything about it. So it's a domino effect that's going on because of Biden's decisions.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of torn on whether we should help Ukraine or not. It's in one way I feel like we should, but another way I'm like, it's really not a problem. But man, I feel bad for them, and they really don't need to be in this position.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but that's not really our fight to fight. So I hope that they can have peace at the end of it, and there's not too many casualties. But we really can't help. We got our own issues. We're not going to try to fight Russia and maybe even fight China. We don't need to go over there and die for Ukraine. That's just my particular opinion about it.
Right. And one more question. What do you think about Ukraine asking Elon Musk for help with his satellites? That's kind of weird.
Well, I'm not sure what's going to happen, what Elon could do. So I don't really know too much about that one.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking my call, ABL. We're big fans here, and you keep doing what you're doing. We love you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. All right. Shout out to the call. Great call. Shout out to my Tennesseans. You know, shout out to them. Yeah, but Taiwan, no. Ain't nobody going. Taiwan is definitely where you don't want to go. You know, we try to like send ships over there, but we're not really going to actually intervene. Okay, let's go. 513 on the line. Who am I speaking to? Okay, 513 got a little bit of cold feet, maybe. Let's get back to some more here. All right. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go to. All right. Anonymous caller on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hi. I have just an opinion about Ukraine. You remember when they were calling Trump supporters Nazi?
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. Give me a second. You remember when they were calling Trump supporters Nazis?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I remember they called Trump supporters Nazis.
The truckers Nazis.
Oh, the truckers Nazis in Canada. Yeah.
And now they are calling Ukrainians Nazis. So what's the trend there? I don't like somebody, I call them Nazi. There is no base. There is no proof. There is nothing. Just call somebody who you don't like Nazi, and that's it. Everybody believes it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the whole Nazi thing. I've not looked into it, but what I'm hearing is that you have Ukrainians, just regular people, and then you have those that have kind of like invaded that are Nazis. But I don't know a lot about that. Are you from Ukraine or that area?
I am.
Okay, so have you heard about this Nazi thing at all?
Never.
Okay.
Never. It's the same thing that you call white supremacists to all Trump supporters. You go to a demonstration here in the United States, you support the right, you are a Nazi. You are a white supremacist. It's the same trend.
Okay. I understand. So, okay, now as far as what's happening right now, how you feel about the invasion from Russia and what's going to be the end result, in your opinion?
The end result is going to be like colonization.
Oh.
The Russians are going to be there, but what happened, I think they didn't count that the people were going to resist, so it's going to become kind of like a Vietnam. Like becomes like in a civil war because people have we have different culture as the Russians. We have different customs. In some parts of Ukraine, yes, they speak Russian and they are more familiar with the culture, but not the whole country. People are not just gonna submit. So I don't think it's gonna get any better. It's gonna get worse.
Okay. Now, should anybody help? Do you think Poland should help, or Romania? Should anybody help you guys, or is it pretty much just Ukrainians on their own? Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't think nobody wants to help.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna help, but just sending more arms and ammunition, and that's why I say it's gonna become a civil war. Nobody wants to confront Russia. Nobody wants to have war, and I understand that.
Right.
But I don't think Russia's gonna stop in Ukraine. He's gonna go for the other ex-Soviet republic. That's his plan. The only thing the U.S. is doing is like guarding the border for the NATO countries, but they won't do much. They won't do much, unfortunately, and the people of Ukraine is the one who's gonna pay the price.
Right. Yeah. It's really unfortunate. So I just hope that Ukraine can, the people that live there, hopefully they don't have too many casualties and there's not too much of a change in their life. That's all I can really hope for, because it's not much. I can't really do anything else. So I just hope for the best.
Yeah, and what makes it matter worse is the winter. There is no food already. There is food lines. People are in the hospitals. There is no electricity. So it's going to get worse. A lot of people, about 100,000 people already left the country to Poland.
Right.
More people is going to keep leaving because there is no resources anymore. They are cutting all resources for the country. And it's going to get worse. How are you going to transport food for everybody? Not even the Russian army has a way to get food now because they are bombarding the train line.
Right.
Everybody's gonna suffer. It's not gonna be only Ukrainians, it's gonna be Russians too. And now they are sending the Chechens. The Chechens are being sent to slaughter us. Why the Chechens have to be in there? They are sending them there.
You said it's
I
in
don't know if
the,
you heard about that.
you said it's in the Chechenian?
Yeah, the Chechens are being sent to Ukraine to fight.
Oh.
I don't know if you hear about that.
No, I didn't hear about that. Now, is Chechnya, is that part of Russia, or are they still their own independent thing?
No, there is Chechens are Muslims.
Yeah.
But the leader is Putin's puppet.
Okay.
So he's sending them there to fight because he doesn't want Russians to die and the country will turn against him. So it's better to kill the Chechens than killing Russians because this way people will get upset in his country.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Now,
Find out. Do some research. You'll see it. The leader of the Chechens, he's Muslim. He's in Ukraine now. He went in to help them. So it's gonna get worse. It's not gonna stop. There will be more people involved. More countries will get involved as a militia. They are a militia. They're in Ukraine now.
Okay. Now, I have a question. There's one more question here. How do I pronounce Kiev, the capital? Is it Kiev or Kiev? How do I pronounce it?
Kiev.
Kiev?
Yes.
Okay. So have you been hearing the news? They're calling it Kiev. Are they calling it Kiev for a reason? Is that a Russian? Like, why are they saying Kiev rather than Kiev?
I don't know. It must be the region or whoever pronounce it differently. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, now.
Bye.
Well, yeah. So I didn't know they were sending the Chechens from Chechnya right there. That's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that's like, if you guys don't know where that is, that's like close to Georgia, Azerbaijan, the Caucasus Mountains. Those are like the Czech. Remember the Boston bombers? They were Chechnyan. Okay, they're Muslims and like close to the Muslim part of that area, right there. That's where Khabib Nurmagomedov, the MMA fighter, he's from Dagestan, which is right there. All right, let me get to some more calls here. The phone lines are blowing up, so y'all please pardon me. The number to call 434-658-1220. Let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling here. And let's go to 817 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Ray Vasquez from Fort Worth, Texas.
All righty, what's going on?
How are you?
It's all good.
Do you believe in prophecy? I know you're a Christian, right?
No, I'm not.
But I thought you were. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Conservative.
Yeah, I'm a conservative, but that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was somebody I had heard. I think it was like a few months ago. Somebody had said that there's a prophet said that Joe Biden was not going to make it to the end of his term.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he might not make it because it's not looking too good right now at all. When I see him come outside, he's looking pretty pitiful.
He's like a zombie, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I was wondering if you believe in prophecy, and there's another prophet that's on. He's on YouTube. I forget what his channel is. He's a younger black dude. He said that Trump will be back in office before the end of, before the end of whatever term. He's basically saying that he's gonna replace Biden. And I wanted to ask you, what happens with the case, like the other Trump cases, like everything he was trying to take to court, like to prove that that they cheated him out of the presidency or whatever. Do you know anything about that?
I have no idea. That's kind of beyond my. That's outside of my wheelhouse. I have no clue. I think Trump. I think that Biden will stay there until he can't stay there, and or until the next term. But it won't be anybody from the outside that'll get implanted in there. That ain't gonna happen, in my opinion. I think it'll just be 2024 election, and then we'll go a different direction.
All right. I mean, I listened to that guy's. Some of the things he was prophesying actually came true, and another thing he said was that Democrats are going to get basically like wiped out. There's going to be no more Democratic Party after this because of all the garbage they've done, everything, all the damage it did to America. They're going to be eliminated.
Well, federally, they're going to have issues when you're talking about the presidential election. When you're talking
I'm not talking about yeah.
But when you're talking
about like them,
hold on. Let me finish, sir.
The party's going to fall apart. Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm talking about is federally they're going to have problems, but on a state level, they still going to have Democrats. Like California is still going to be blue as can be. That's pretty much going to be the case there because of the people that live there.
All right. Keep up the good work, man. I like to listen to you.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's get to some more here. The number to call, 434-658-1220. And let's go to, okay, let's try. All right, I'm getting the calls are blowing up, so y'all got to just hang tight. I promise I'll get to you guys. 443 on the line, who am I speaking to?
Yes, my name is David.
All righty, man, what's going on?
Hey, I was just curious. I'm in the military. I was curious on your thoughts on people still getting kicked out for not having a vaccine while we're possibly doing World War III.
It makes no sense. The whole thing about all of this policy behind the vax makes no sense. And, you know, it kind of goes full circle. Like I saw a tweet today from one of these super wokesters on the internets, and they were saying we should draft the unvaccinated. It's like, well, newsflash, lady, y'all kicked the unvaccinated out of the military. How are you going to draft them? It makes no sense. But people don't think. They don't use their brain. The people that comment like that don't make any sense. They don't think. And these same people are in administrative roles. They're the ones make the decision to say, okay, if you're not vaxxed in the military, you're getting booted out. The dumbest thing in the world. They're diverting border agents from the border to go to Ukraine or to quote unquote Eastern Europe. Why? It makes no sense. Maybe if you had more personnel, if you didn't kick them out because of being unvaccinated, maybe they'd be able to go over there or stay over here and help.
Yeah, no one wants to talk about all the stuff that's happened with all the Afghanis that they brought over, them raping service members or killing their own spouses and stuff like that. No one's talking about that. Or all the harassment and everything else that people who are unvaccinated and still managing to serve have to deal with. That makes zero sense.
Yeah, right when the Afghans came, like the first day or 2 day came, there was already a guy that was beating his wife, and one guy was caught trying to attack a little kid, you know, and advance in an inappropriate way as soon as they came over. And it's like, okay, if that happened right away, right when they first came, surely there's been more of that over the past few months they've been here. But we can't talk about that because that'd be considered racist, I suppose, to report on crimes that people commit when we bring them into a country, when we give them favor and whatnot. That whole Afghanistan thing was a mess, a complete mess from top to bottom, and it continues to be a mess. It was crazy.
Yeah, I thought since I've called my congressman and everything else, I wanted to see your take on it, because they're like, oh, you know, we don't support vaccine mandates, but they don't do anything to help me or my situation out here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they can do when you're talking about your congressman. All they can, like we're talking about like a senator, all they can do is vote, really. I'm not sure what can be done. When you're talking about the military, I don't really know how that actually works. Like who controls what happens in the military on a high level? Is it the command in the military? Is it the president? Who actually is in charge of that?
So the person who has all the authority over it would be the president, but the president hasn't made any executive orders besides that we have to be vaccinated. But the thing with that is, he said we have to have a FDA-approved vaccine, but none of the vaccines that are available in the United States, to my knowledge, are FDA-approved.
Right, they're only available. They're only available under the emergency use authorization. There's no FDA approval.
the test that they make us get twice a week to prove that I don't have COVID. And, you know, I get in trouble for common sense arguments like, hey, why do I have to get tested twice a week? And they're like, oh, so we know that you don't have COVID. And I'm like, okay, but you're vaccinated. Why don't we test you? And they're like, well, because I'm vaccinated. I'm like, so you can't get COVID? And they're like, well, I don't have any symptoms. And I'm like, well, neither do I. And I bring up these arguments all the time, and I just get told to shut up, or, you know, they've already threatened to boot me out, take my rank and everything else. And I got a family. So it's been frustrating, but I don't plan to give in.
Well, I mean, I say keep on fighting, because I think eventually you're going to be able to succeed. Just like what's going on right now in the business world, where they had Kyrie Irving. He wasn't allowed to play basketball at first because he was unvaccinated. Then they said, okay, you could play some of the games. And now they're going to get rid of that mandate so he'd be able to play. He's been fighting all year to get back on the basketball court, but at a certain point, they're not going to be able to keep the charade up anymore. You know, and I saw an article that said that CDC is relaxing some of the guidelines. So I think eventually, by this year, especially because you get midterms coming up, they're going to pull a lot of these things back. Now, as far as the military, I don't know, but I think there's a good chance you could see a lot of this stuff come to an end. That's my projection.
Yeah, so far we're winning all the court cases, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just thought I'd get your take on it, man.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, have a good one.
No problem. All right, let's get to some more here. Number to call, 434-658. You know the rest. Number's always in the description. Okay, I'm trying to get to you guys as soon as possible, so y'all please hang on. And give me a second. All right, where we at? Let's go to, all right, 971 on line, my speaker to.
Hi. Oh my God, let me turn the TV down. So my name is Rebecca, and I am calling from Atlanta. I just moved here from New York City, and I moved here because of a lot of the stuff I could see was going way downhill in New York. I had my business there for 8 years, and when I chose not to get vaccinated, they told me that I couldn't operate my business. This is just like a couple months ago.
Oh, wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So when they said, okay, all small business owners in New York had to be vaccinated by, I think it was in October. I ended up, they allowed small business owners to be on this call every week with whatever representative from the mayor's office. And I got on that call and I was just like, well, I'm not vaccinated. And what if I own the business? What is the process for the owners of the business? And they said, well, you can't operate your business. You can only be in there for 10 minutes each time that you go in, or you have to move your business outside. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. So I do acne treatments, and I've had a very successful business up until the pandemic, and it just doesn't make any sense to move my business outside. I can't go out on the sidewalk and do facials or whatever.
Right.
So I said, well, are you guys prepared to, pay my moving expenses or pay expenses while I'm down and all this stuff? And they said, well, we're not rewarding you for not being vaccinated.
Wow.
So I said, well, I've had my business here for a long time. I pay taxes to city and state, and I'm just trying to figure out what I can do. And she said, you just can't operate your business in New York City. You just can't. You have to move outside of New York City if you want to operate your business. And I got all of this in writing. You have to move. You can't be a resident of New York City and operate your business in New York City and be in your office more than 10 minutes. And I said, so what is the research that you guys have that leads to at 11 minutes or 15 minutes that I'm a threat to my clientele or people that work in there with me? And they said, this is what we have now. These are the rules. Don't shoot me on just the messenger. And I said, yeah, but you're the one who's telling us small business owners that we have to not work in our own businesses that we've built, and we can't live here and work here. And it just was so confusing. I'm like, what kind of sense does this make? So then she said, because I know you've been talking about Kyrie Irving a lot. He's from New Jersey. I don't know if he lives in New York City or if he has a house in New Jersey. He probably has a house in New Jersey. She said, like actors, basketball players, and whoever come into the city for 3 to 4 days at a time, you can go and live in a different place. And she, like I said, she put this in writing, which is just dumb to me. You can go and live someplace else and fly into New York and run your business like a basketball player. So now I live in Atlanta, which I was kind of planning to do because I was just upset with everything that was going on. So I fly in almost every 3 weeks to New York and go and run my business or see my clients and stuff for 3 days at a time. And then I fly back to Atlanta, which isn't super expensive, but it's just super inconvenient.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Let's pause. So you live in Atlanta, but you fly to New York to work, and then would you come back to Atlanta after a certain period, like on the weekend or something?
After 3 days, yeah. I usually go every 3 weeks for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday morning or Sunday evening.
Wow.
And then I stay here in Atlanta, and I'm opening a place in Atlanta now. And then I'm like, but so you would rather me be flying around and then fly back into New York City unvaccinated to work? It just doesn't make any sense. And then the second thing that I wanted to bring up to you is that I just joined the stream about like maybe 30 minutes ago, so I don't know if you said this before I got on there. Did you know in New York City the head of the FDNY union is probing into all these recent deaths that have happened for firefighters?
I've been hearing about that a little bit, but can you expand on it for me?
So basically what's happening is that in the last, what I've seen and what I know of personally in the last 2 months, and some of my clients are with FDNY, since the vax mandate, I think in December, I know of 5 deaths of firefighters. They're aged 31, 33, 44, 53, and 60. And
hold on. One second. Before you say anything, it's all heart related, right? It's all cardiac arrest, heart stuff going on.
They're saying these are medical episodes. That's what they're calling them.
I can guarantee you it's heart stuff, because my dad was a firefighter and he told me this years ago. He was saying, hey, as a matter of fact, he had a heart attack and died when he was 61 years old too. But the heart is a problem. 45% of firefighters who die while they're a firefighter have heart attacks when they die, compared to about 10 to 15% of people that work a regular job die of a heart attack while they're working. 45% because when you on the clock as a firefighter, you sleep at the station, and if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and the alarm goes off, you got to get up. So you go from a deep sleep to running into a burning building, your heart's pumping, and you do that 15, 20 years, you're going to have issues with your heart. So if you have something that inflames your heart, meaning the vax possibly, that could cause problems that might have already been there to get worse. Now, boom, 35 years old, you dead.
Yeah, I believe it. But within the FDNY, they're calling them medical episodes because they're dying like while they're not in service, like they're dying like, when they're just chilling at the firehouse. Or the youngest one, he was in some type of training when he died, and then the other ones, I don't know how they died. But so the head of the firefighters union is now saying publicly that he thinks that there's a link between these deaths and the vaccines because of the timeline. He says something has been introduced to our firefighters, and this has never been seen before, where this many firefighters die in a short period of time, and they're young.
Yeah, I guarantee you it's heart attacks. 100% heart attacks. That's what it is. I know that to be.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet money on it because it lines up, because myocarditis is a problem, especially in a lot of young, healthy, fit men. So if you are a firefighter, a lot of times you may not always be in good shape, but you might be in decent shape. That's going to be the problem. And if you're not in good shape, that's even
Yeah.
worse, because if you got a heart issue already and you're not in shape and you have the vax that comes in, it's a bad mix.
Yeah, so everything's just crazy there, like you're saying, like none of it makes any type of sense, and they're putting the city at risk with this mandate. Now we don't have I'm not there anymore living, but they don't have as many firefighters, and that's just the ones that are dead. There are ones that are getting sick. I've heard of a couple who have lost use of their one of their arms, so they're not able to be a firefighter anymore. And I have one of my clients who's turned into a really good friend of mine. She is pretty much the last one standing. She's 28 years old, and she refused to get the vaccine, but she did such a good thing and didn't lie and say, "Oh, I need an exemption because of religious reasons," when she's not very religious. I said, "No, go and find a lawyer and have them write your paperwork the right way." And she did that, and she's there. And they fired everybody else for not having the vaccine, but they won't fire her for whatever reason. It's probably because she's doing things the right way. But what's happening with her is now she's getting overworked because all the vaccinated people are out sick.
Wow.
So none of this makes any sense, and it's so frustrating. So once it's all said and done, I'm going to look into whether I can sue the city or whatever. Maybe there'll be a class action thing that I can jump on or whatever, for them making it hard for small business owners to even run their businesses. And a lot of them have moved out. I'm sure you know that. A lot of people have just exited New York, and I think it's actually probably going to get worse. But then the last thing that I wanted to mention for those of you that want to look up, there's a lot in the last week. There's been a lot of articles about these firefighters who have died, and just want to give you guys the names of the firefighters, if I could, just so you guys can look them up on your own and see what's going on in New York City. So the five that I personally know of are Vincent Malvo, he's 30, Joseph Maiello, Maiello, he's 53, Thomas Curie, Keery, he's 60, firefighter Jesse Gerhard, he's 33, and then Lieutenant Robert Cruz, he's 44. And you guys can look those up if you want and see what's really going on, because they have full articles on each one of those guys. And that was it.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Okay, thanks. I enjoy your show.
All
Bye.
right. Great call. I guarantee you it's heart problems, 100%. Dad told me this about heart problems years ago, way back, like when I was probably in my 20s, because I was thinking about becoming a firefighter, and he was telling me like how a lot of the guys when they retire, they end up dying sometimes in their 50s because over the years of being at the fire station, you sleep, it's 2:00 in the morning, you got to get up. You go from 0 to 100 to from a deep sleep to running into a burning building, putting on gear, hectic environment, loud noises. Your heart is going from relaxed to beating through your chest. It's causing heart problems. 45% of firefighters who die from heart attacks. That's a fact. Look it up. And then you get the shot, it causes myocarditis. Combine that with heart problems already from firefighters because of the nature of the job. Now you're going to accelerate any kind of existing issue. You see, that's what's going on. They're going to say it. Trust and believe. I'm going to look into that, and I might do a video about it. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let's go to 513 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name's Shelly, and I've called before. It's been a while. When I first tuned in, you were talking about like your dad and your mom and everything, and you read a super chat where somebody had asked about home visits and if the other person is vaxxed.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been a nurse for 20 years. Okay, so I'm going to try to summarize this from my perspective, my point of view, and my experience. Is that all right?
Go for it.
And what has happened, okay? And I don't necessarily think it's all left or right, and might jump around a little bit. But really, okay, so current day, okay, I live in Ohio, and I have a son who has a rare syndrome, who, ironically, all of the research they do, that somebody ends up dying with a heart attack, it's all mRNA, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of our healthcare system is controlled by our state medical boards that are controlled by, colleges, research centers, all of that. So I had to take him out of state to get care. While we're out of state, there's other people there that are out of state. There are doctors there flying in from other states to work there, like your previous caller was talking about, flying out of state.
Right.
But as far, we keep making healthcare impossible to access, and we're doing ourselves a disservice. And people aren't saying no. Okay, like when back in the day, you could be an LPN and make $35,000 a year. And then we decided, no, you have to have an associate's. And then it was, no, you have to have a bachelor's. So we keep upping the requirements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about vac status, okay? When the smoking bans happened, I worked in a nursing home. And it was a big deal because these people lived there. And can you tell someone they can't smoke in their own house?
Right.
Okay, so now got the opposite. We've shut down these facilities. We've shut down inpatient care. All these states, a lot of these states think they can do everything via home care. So, same thing. If I'm going into their house to do a job, can they not smoke when I'm there? It's the thing with the vax. Why don't we try to quit controlling each other? I mean, the more rules we put in place so that other people don't inconvenience us, we're inconveniencing ourselves. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from for sure, 100%.
I mean, it's like we keep, we're just changing things. And now there's so many rules, it's almost easier to be illegal. Like pushing people into the black market. And then when you talk about working and employment, a lot of these elderly people were stay-at-home moms, and they're getting care. What do you do about the stay-at-home moms? If we're going to praise stay-at-home moms, what do you do about health care for them later in life if they never gave into the system?
Well, I mean, I think that would be more about the family situation they got going on. Like if they had a husband or something like that, that'd be something they had to work out before. If you're going to be a stay-at-home mom, I presume you'd be married. So that'd be something you work out with your husband, right?
Well, I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, there's a lot of people on, receiving public assistance, public care that were stay-at-home moms or housewives.
Yeah, so
I just don't know if we should base our worthiness of accessing healthcare based on what kind of job we do. Like, do you have to pay taxes to be worthy?
Well, I mean, what you mean, like as far as accessing healthcare, like as far as free healthcare? Is that what we're saying?
Well, right. I guess it would be free. I mean, nothing's free. I mean, that's
the taxes. That's where we come from, right?
Okay, but it feels like we've turned into a country where we're okay with government organizations and foundations and committees and groups and law enforcement and public health enforcement. We're okay with them taking our money as long as somebody who we deem unworthy isn't getting free food, free healthcare, or free housing.
Well, I think the problem is you got too many governmental organizations already, and it shouldn't be about, who can get free stuff. It should be about making things, having less red tape and less government in our lives so we can do things for ourselves, rather than being reliant upon the government. Because if we rely upon the government, now we got to give them the money. We got to keep forking it over. And there's always going to be new red tape, new regulation, new this, new that, because they have the power, because we rely on them. We're giving them the leverage that they use against us to control us. The solution is less government dependence.
Right, and that will save us money because it costs money to enforce all these rules. Okay, when I got my first professional job and they said, okay, we need you to take a drug test, we want your hair. I said, no, right?
Right.
It wasn't hard at all. No. And then when COVID happened, I'm very familiar with like home care and how that all works. If you were paying out of pocket, which nobody does because it's too expensive, the questions they ask were completely different than if you weren't paying out of pocket.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people just go along to get along. And I think we are in a time where the right is so used to saying, well, you should have just complied. Well, if you only would have done it right, well, that's the rules. I mean, are we kind of waiting for those people to get over themselves maybe a little bit? And then we've got the left who is now like, oh, gosh, okay, we have a local radio station.
Well, I'm sorry, caller. I'm sorry, but I got like no more time on the calls. Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Okay, that's right. Thanks. Good night.
All right, let's get to a few more calls here, and let's do. All righty, let's go. Hold on one second here. All right, you're on line. Speaker to 773. Hello, caller 773. You hear me?
ABL, it's your Chicago police officer friend. How you doing?
I'm well. About yourself?
Yeah, you're pushing on my buttons with the vax mandate since the police have lost now and have to get vaccinated. You know, this heart attack brought to you by the good people of Pfizer.
Right, exactly.
But what I wanted to talk about, your younger viewers might not know who Henry Kissinger is, but Kissinger was the Secretary of State under Richard Nixon. He was also the National Security Advisor. He wrote a great book years ago that I read. It's a huge book called Diplomacy. And to sum it up, even though the book is some 600 pages long, it's a huge book, Kissinger maintained that the United States cannot dominate the emerging New World Order, but instead they should rely on the balance of power built out of security pacts and economic alliances. This is how you keep your so-called enemy or people that, or countries that are not on the same plane as you, how you keep them from having conflict with you. Essentially, you kind of make them your friends through the security pacts and economic alliances. I mean, that is how, you know, during the Cold War, Russia and the United States never went to nuclear war, even though we both had the capabilities, is because you had the diplomacy to say, you can kill us, we can kill you, we'll annihilate each other. So it's in both our interests not to do so. And it's the same thing when I was talking to you about last week, which is, you know, once the people see weakness in government or in the police or whoever, you know, now you have a huge problem of people coming to the border, thousands and thousands of people coming to your border and getting in your country. But when Trump was in and they didn't see the weakness, they saw, you know, strength, they didn't even bother to come. And that's the same thing in international diplomacy also. Once they saw Biden's ridiculous response or no response to Afghanistan, now, let's take the Ukraine. Once that happened, now you're going to see China, just like you said before, China with Taiwan. All of a sudden, once you see that there's weakness, you know, they're going to take advantage of that. And then you have huge problems. You can't fight everything militarily. That's the same with the police here in our country. You know, people are afraid to shoplift because they don't want to get caught. But once they see that there's no response to crime, there's no response to shoplifting, now you just waltz in the Walgreens with your big bag and you casually load up your bag with stuff and walk out. I mean, I think this is the consequences of the policies that be right now.
Yeah, I believe so, 100%. And I think that it was kind of predictable, and people tried to warn those that are enacting the policies against it, but it didn't listen, and here we are. This is the result.
Yeah, it's 100% predictable, but for some reason, they try to, one and one don't make two with them.
Right.
You know, it doesn't add up with them. They keep saying, oh, it's not because of what we're doing, it's because of what you're doing. It's, wait a second here. This is the consequences, and I said that last week. This is the consequences of your policies. And they just don't, they deny all that. One other thing, and then I'll let you go. One other thing I wanted to talk about is years and years ago, even before cryptocurrency, I had read about that the government, they want governments to go to, digital money, mostly because they want to be able to tax you on it. With digital money or cryptocurrencies, they can keep track of your money, your earnings, and all your money. They talk about the billions of dollars in the black market, meaning, okay, I don't make too much money. I need a brake job on my car. I'm going to go to the neighborhood mechanic who works out of his garage. I'm going to give him $200 cash, and he's going to fix the brakes on my car, or he's going to fix my muffler or whatever. There's no way that the powers that be can get any taxes from that. And as we know, taxes are the way the ultra rich really make their money from us. We might not give them our taxes directly, but our taxes paid to pay their companies, these companies that have these government contracts and everything else. This is the way they're able to get the money, and less and less money for them. They're greedy like everybody else. It's human nature to be greedy. They want to be able to get every penny of your tax money. And that's why we're going to digital currency. I think it's a slippery slope, but that's just me.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, ABL. Love your show.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
All righty. Let's get to some more calls here. All right, Victor, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Hey, Prophet Trump. That's what I'm going to call him.
That's right.
Yeah. Man, I mean, he warned them, and look what's happening. Look what's happened to America, where we cut off the Keystone Pipeline, and now we can't even do anything to help Ukraine if we wanted to, because we're dependent on Saudi Arabia. And they're not going to budge at all, especially the things that Biden said about them.
Right. No, we don't. We have no leverage here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they talk about they got sanctions. Sanctions not going to do anything. I mean, I truly thought that we were going to have World War III with Trump. Now, I can't even plan my trip to Italy with Joy Behar. Yeah. So. One thing I do want to say is I do admire the bravery that the Ukrainian men are showing true manhood, especially with those 13 soldiers who told the Russians to go F themselves before they died, and the two boxers. One of them is the mayor of Kiev that took up arms.
Yeah, but Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, I do admire them, and that's something about the manhood that we are actually forgetting when we're just so into inclusiveness and bringing transsexuals into the military.
That's right.
I do want to talk about the Brian Flores. You heard about him suing the Dolphins now?
Okay, yeah, you talking about the former Dolphins head coach that got fired?
Yeah, he's talking about racism, and I really hope that people are seeing. Probably this is the reason why that the Dolphins fired him. It's not because of this race, and it's not because of the reason why the other teams are hiring him. He's showing where this guy is not really good to work with. He's finding all types of excuse to try to sue him when there's no evidence of what he's saying. And now it sounds like a crybaby saying that, oh, you're not hiring me, therefore I'm going to sue you.
I mean, the whole thing, it's like what you said, not a very good person to work with. If I saw that on your resume, you causing all this drama and chaos, I'm going to stay away from you because I don't want that on my football team. I'm trying to win games. I'm trying to have somebody that's going to be a team player and fit into the system. You out here trying to sue me and leaking text messages. Man, go over there with that.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I really thought that he was going to get the Houston Texas job until he put out that suit, and now he's suing the Houston Texans. And the Houston Texans looking at it, well, we want to keep Lovie Smith because we really like this quarterback we have, David Mills. So we're going to try to work with him. And we were trying to keep Deshaun Watson because he likes Brian Flores. But after this stuff, I don't know if we could work with him.
Right, I'm with you.
Yeah. The last one I want to talk about is the new Dolphins head coach. You heard about him?
The guy that looks like a regular white guy, but is identified as black, although he doesn't really identify as anything. I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, you know who should be blamed for that? For people calling him black, or black people themselves?
Yeah,
because they're the ones that talk about if you have a biracial person, he's black. He or she is black. Don't even worry about the white half, even though that white half, like Colin Kaepernick and Barack Obama, even though that white half raised them and not the black half, they always call that if you're mixed, you're black. And now you have this coach where you don't want to call him black, yet though you don't have any issues calling people like Colin Kaepernick black when he doesn't even look black.
It's a racist thing. It goes back to the Jim Crow days of the one drop rule. It's like we talk about how bad Jim Crow was, how we want to get away from it, and how these racist white Republicans are still stuck in Jim Crow. But then we talk about this one drop rule. You got a whole octoroon or a quadroon, whatever you want to call them. You got one great granddaddy that was black, and you black. How that make sense? It's so silly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really hope that they learn the lessons. It's just stop calling everybody black just because they're black. And also, even if you don't even want to learn from that lesson, just think how disrespectful it is when you just ignore that other half of them and only want to concentrate on the black half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Right on point. Very well said. Couldn't say that better myself. Okay, I got a little bit of time for a few more calls. And let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Okay, let's do. All righty, who am I speaking to? 907?
Yeah, hey.
All right, got a little bit of background noise. Go ahead.
Am I really on?
You're live, but I got a little bit of background noise. Turn the speakers down for me, please.
Oh, okay. Let me shut you off on the tablet. Okay, is that better?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I just had two things to say, and I actually wrote it down so I don't get off track. And it's like,
Hold on, but now I got the dog barking. Are you on speakerphone?
Yeah, you want to turn that off?
Yes, please.
I'm a little hard of hearing, so it helps me. But no, I'm in Anchorage, Alaska, and I've worked as a nurse's aide in all the hospitals up here. And no one goes without great health care. If you're a homeless guy in the street and you have a heart attack and you're brought into one of our emergency rooms, you get cared for. And depending on which hospital you get set to, the Catholic one will set you up with people who are going to try and set you straight and get you on the right path. And the other one will hook you up with government agencies. So nobody does without, whether it's the drunk on the street who got in a fight, grandma, the kids, everybody but the unvaxxed. Then it's okay to discriminate against. And this is the first time in history that a medicine's ineffectiveness is blamed on those who don't use it.
Right.
So I find that really bad. And then as far as what's going on in Ukraine, I'm amazed Biden's letting Hunter's paycheck go to waste like that. But I wouldn't put it past the Democrats. They know they're losing power. They're not going to make it through the midterms and for sure not the other elections. And I wouldn't put them past dropping a nuke so that Putin will retaliate And they, will just say if they can't have it, nobody will. We've
Right.
been in an abusive relationship with our elected officials. And it's, that's what they do is, if they can't keep you, they beat you. And if the beatings don't work, they'll kill you.
That's what it sounds like. And that's not very good at all.
No, not at all. We have lost control of the people we pay for. They keep thinking they're our leaders. No, we're their employers.
Right.
And that's got to be shifted back so they understand that.
When the government gets very big like that, they think that we're their subjects. But in reality,
right.
they work for us. They're there
exactly.
to provide a service, not the other way around.
Exactly. We employ them. They have to answer to us. We shouldn't be scrutinized by them. They want to look at everybody who has a $500 thing in their bank. Oh, what about Nancy Pelosi's money? I'd sure like to look at that. Do you know how many houses that woman owns and a vineyard and mansions? And she's the richest person pretty much in America.
Well, she's up there. She most certainly is.
Yeah, and do you know she never had a job in her life except for politics. She started politics when John F. Kennedy was alive.
Wow, that's
a
long time ago.
She had a affair with him to get started.
Wow, yeah.
And she's never had a job other than a government job, and yet she's really rich. How do you get rich in government? Being a crook.
That's right.
That's, they were using Ukraine to launder lots of money to Pelosi's son was in on it. And I'm just astonished that they're giving it up like that. It must mean that they're really giving up and they want to have Armageddon.
Right.
Because they're going to lose and they're going to throw a fit because that's what we've been letting them do for the last 5 years is throw little temper tantrums. They proved they'd burn our cities down. What would stop them from going a little step further to burn our country down, especially if they can blame it on them? We'll blame it on Putin, say we told you so.
Yeah, you got a point.
Yeah, I actually strayed from what I was going to keep it short and sweet. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
My son doesn't let me talk politics.
Oh, it's all good. It's all right.
Oh, excellent. But yeah, I'm really saddened that the way our country's going. Do you realize if you can think of a major despot or tyrant, Hitler, Stalin, Leningrad, all of them that killed millions of people, what did they do first? They disarmed their public, their people.
Yeah.
And our government wants to take our guns away? It must mean they want to do something they think we'd shoot them for.
Right. And that's not going to happen because, I lost all my guns in a tragic boating accident, but I'm able to find that water and get them if I have to. So that's not going to happen. We're going to have our guns for sure.
Oh, nobody has my name there. All my guns have been over the last several years. My guns have all been reported stolen. So, I mean, yeah. If I have 7 guns and the government comes and takes 7, how many do I have? The other 25.
Hey, if they can't find
arrows,
right?
And hairspray with lighters next to them because those make a heck of a torch.
They sure do.
This girl will go down and fight, and this is my country, and I think we need to take it back.
That's right.
Because wow, and there's so many people they don't even know how close we are to losing our country. Tell me where in the Constitution, because in the last year and a half, I've read it several times. Where does it say in case of pandemic or emergency, suspend us till you want to give them their rights back? Go ahead and suspend us. It doesn't say that anywhere in there. And if they get emergency powers, what's to stop them from constantly having an emergency? Like now we're having, when everybody's dying down about COVID and realizing the flu was worse, especially with this last variant, because a virus, it doesn't like to kill its host. That wouldn't be very good for it, would it? Because it would die. So it's constantly morphing and changing into a variant, but each morph is easier spread but less virulent.
That's right. That's right.
And you can look that up in any science
I'm
book.
sorry to cut you off, but I'm at the end of my show, so thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Love listening to you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. That'll be a wrap for the call. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Definitely appreciate y'all. Couldn't do it without you. If you couldn't get on tonight, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. You know to blame. But I'll be back live again, of course, on Wednesday. And, of course, I'll be live on Tatum's stream if he does it on Thursday of next week. But I'm here every day pretty much putting out pre-recorded content, except for Sunday. Take Monday off for myself. But that will be a wrap. I got Super Chats on deck right quick. I'm going to get to those. And before I get to Super Chats, thank you to the moderators doing a great job. As always, keeping the trolls in check. And thank you to everybody that's been here, Super Chatting, just watching, sharing, liking, tweeting, whatever you're doing. Thank you. Shout out to all the callers as well. I couldn't do the show without you guys. So thank you guys for calling in. I really, really thank you for that. If you couldn't get on, we'll try to get you on next time. That'd be what I attempt to do. So y'all just hang tight. Now, Super Chats on deck. I'm going to read those. Then I'll wrap it on up, put the bow on top. Jay says, history shows you have to fight power with power. Sanctions are a form of appeasement. We all know it, and the U.S. and NATO don't want no smoke. That's right. Shell Beach says, it's not that the Azovs are a majority, it's that they are such bad dudes that even the president has to be careful not to piss them off. Thank you to Roy Rad for your donation, and thank you to F Ranger Xbox who says, fire that white man that ignored my call. Thank you to Boomhauer who says, what do you know? I just found out Bubba Wallace Smouye has a whole white woman as a girlfriend. Of course, not surprising. Oh, hold on. Oh, Bubba. Oh, yeah. You're talking about Bubba, not Juicy, because Juicy he don't go that way. But anyway, after all that racist crap he spewed, he's just the rest. He's just like the rest. Exactly. He biracial too, so it's not really surprising. Bubba versus Windshield says, Justin Castro said Canada will stand up to authoritarianism. That clown has no measure of himself at all. What a joke. Right on. Real News Headquarters says targeted Fauci Biolabs UA never registered their border with International Courts 91, and Vlad telegraphed targets against Desperate Crime Network, Deep State Crime Network. Thank you to Roy Rab for your donation. Thank you to Mike who says, who's threatening YouTubers to keep them from discussing Brave New World and Harrison Bergeron as it relates to what's happening now? I have no idea what that is, so I'm just not really informed about that. Thank you to Mary A. Gregory who says, Biden is sending over people who work at our border to help guard the Ukraine border crazy. I reported on that earlier on the show. Thank you to TSM Space who says, Putin achieved his goal of showing Ukraine that no one is going to fight with them. They thought they would have help. Now they know Putin was big. Buff versus Windshield says, 1995, Russia put out a statement saying the city of Kiev was now to pronounce Kyiv. It was to belittle Ukraine. For 2,000 years, it's been Kiev. Thank you to Noel Garcia, who says, I'm going to use my milestone chat for Ouya. Anyone in the chat, can I get a Ouya? All right. Thank you to Buffers Windshield, who says, I was wrong. 1995, Ukraine changed the pronunciation to Kyiv. Still two syllables, though. Or Kyiv. Kyiv. Real men can admit when they're wrong, unlike the left. Thank you to Shell Beach for your donation, who says, the weakness America's enemy perceive isn't fear or cowardice, it's stupidity. Bo versus Windshield also says Dolphins hired Ted Lasso. Jay says, if Russia nukes Berlin, do you think we'll risk American cities also getting nuked to protect Germany? No. I doubt it. He can call NATO on their bluff. F Ranger Xbox says, already read that one. Thank you to Fonda Faye, who says, opinion on Biden's pick for Supreme Court. I don't really know nothing about her, really. I know she has a white husband. That's going to be interesting to see if they talk about that. They talk about it when it comes to conservatives, but not liberals. And thank you to James Lynch, who says, still love your show, Anthony. Peace. Thank you for that. I appreciate y'all. But that'll be a wrap for me. Thank you all for being here. I'll be back live again on Wednesday. And until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.